Chapter 1462, Breaking the Rules. Wang Lin's words were as cold as frost and stopped the burly from the heavenly wolf clan from moving. Sweat appeared on his forehead as he stared at the 9 drops of poison liquid that surrounded him. He could clearly feel these drops of poison contained an unimaginable toxin. Just 1 drop would be enough to cause his flesh and origin soul to decay until there was nothing left. What caused his scalp to turn numb was that there were simply too many Joss flame souls inside them. These souls had been turned into poison souls and then had been refined. They emitted endless resentment and destructive force. He didn't dare to move. He didn't dare to move at all. The battle today was too fast and filled with twists and turns. He didn't expect Ling Dong to appear, and he didn't expect Ling Dong to have taken that half step. If this was all, it wouldn't be too much. After the ancient leaves had sealed all his paths, he still had other methods. However, these 9 drops were enough to break his mind. The terrifying aura from the 9 drops caused Zhou Jin's skin to crawl. Seeing that Zhou Jin was trapped, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slowly said, "Ling Dong." Esteemed Ling Dong stepped forward and stopped 100 feet from Wang Lin. He knelt down on one knee and, with fervor in his eyes, said, "Does Master want to kill him or refine him?" "Master!" This word entered Zhou Jin's ears and caused him to become startled. Disbelief filled his eyes. 3rd step cultivators were the strongest existences, and there were very few of them. Each of them was extremely famous. How could they recognize anyone as their master, much less someone who hadn't even reached the 3rd step? "Refine." Wang Lin waved his hand, and the Emperor Furnace suddenly changed. 18 ancient leaves landed on the Emperor Furnace, sealing it. Then the souls appeared and began refining. Esteemed Ling Dong entered the poison ocean realm with Wang Lin's help. He sat in the air and began the slave refining process. Zhou Jin was different from Ling Dong. He was a true 3rd step cultivator, so it was not easy to refine him into a slave. Even the dream Tao would only increase the chance after Wang Lin had grinded down Zhou Jin's mental state. Right now Zhou Jin was suppressed in the Emperor Furnace with Ling Dong on guard, and the 18 ancient leaves sealing the furnace. Most importantly, the 9 drops of poison were around him, so Wang Lin was confident Zhou Jin couldn't escape. There were only 9 drops of poison, so he didn't want to waste them. Right now they were able to trap Zhou Jin. Also, Wang Lin didn't want to kill Zhou Jin. If he could obtain 2 ancient slaves, then once Wang Lin returned to the inner realm, his great enemy Taoist water could only run in terror. Wang Lin's ancient god stars flashed, and he put away the Emperor Furnace. He then looked down at the earth below him. The interior of the forest was empty, leaving only some trees on the outer edges. At the center, where greed had found the statue, the vortex was still floating there. Wang Lin pondered a bit. He intended to take the forest and the skull with him. However, he wasn't sure if the vortex would dissipate if he took them away. If it disappeared, it wouldn't be worth it. This vortex was very important to Wang Lin. He had scanned it with his divine sense, but he wasn't sure if this vortex would send him to the ancient star system. He was only sure that this vortex had the ability to teleport. After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin didn't act recklessly. His hand formed seals and a large amount of restrictions filled the sky, sealing this place up. Wang Lin used several days' time and completely sealed this place up. He then stepped forward and left the world the forest was in. When he reappeared, he was inside the fog and the ancient god. He began releasing restrictions to seal the area from the outside before he finally relaxed. Even if someone obtained an ancient leaf and came here, they would have to break the restrictions here first. It would be filled with danger. Wang Lin was very confident in his restrictions. His eyes lit up and flowing time appeared to increase the age of the time restriction, making it even more powerful. After doing all of this, Wang Lin's gaze landed on the burly man's rank 5 platform. He waved his hand and the platform rumbled. All the runes flew off and flew toward Wang Lin. As the runes approached, Wang Lin took out his rank 5 platform. After absorbing the runes, his platform suddenly expanded outward and became 60,000 feet wide in the blink of an eye. Standing on the platform, Wang Lin felt the familiar divine sense rush into his mind. More of the map appeared in his mind. At this instant, a majestic voice echoed in Wang Lin's heart. Rank 9 is the end. I have 3 palaces. Heaven, Earth, Human. The human palace contains my Renegade sword. This sword has accompanied me for my entire life. Experiencing countless slaughter due to all the killing, it turned into a demon and had 3 seals placed on it. The voice dissipated, and Wang Lin remained calm. A moment later, his eyes lit up, and he controlled the 60,000-foot platform, disappearing into the fog. Along the way, Wang Lin moved quickly. He could vaguely feel the aura of other platforms ahead of him. These auras were of other rank 5 or higher platforms. They were far further ahead than Wang Lin. According to Wang Lin's calculations, the one furthest ahead had already reached the 8th map. There are 9 maps in total. According to Yimo's words, it says not whoever reaches the 9th map the fastest, but whoever obtains a rank 9 platform to meet the requirements. Going by my current speed, I can move faster than those ahead of me. Wang Lin sat down on the platform and began to ponder. After a long time, he touched the spot between his brows and his eyes shined. Everyone in the ancient order tomb has a number, but I don't if Tuo Sen came here, he also want have the number mark. I am an ancient god, so I don't need to be marked by a number. Then what exactly are the number marks? Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he vaguely noticed something. His hand hit the platform below him and one rune flew out and he grabbed it. After entering the tomb, Wang Lin had been passive and had been pushed around by the force controlling this place. Even the giant hand seemed to be controlled by someone. This feeling made him uncomfortable. This was the first time Wang Lin had examined one of these very important number runes. Staring at it, Wang Lin gradually frowned. Time slowly passed. Wang Lin allowed the platform to carry him forward. The platform moved through the 5th map and entered the 6th map. The rune inside his hand had changed hundreds of times, and he had examined each change carefully. There is a very strange force inside this rune. The power of this rune seems to allow people to exist here for a short period of time. If it wasn't there, Wang Lin's right hand reached out at the void, and the girl from the Ceiling Extermination clan appeared before him. Although he had taken the girl's clan mark, there was still a mark between her eyebrows. This was the number mark. Her eyes were closed as if she was sleeping. Wang Lin stared at her forehead, and after a long time, he raised his right hand. Ancient god power filled his hand and he gently wiped across her forehead. The girl trembled, and after Wang Lin's right hand moved past it, the mark was still there. Wang Lin pondered for a bit and took out the ancient soul bottle from his storage space. His right hand hit the bottle and an ancient devil soul came out with a roar. The moment it appeared, Wang Lin caught it and crushed it. A mournful scream echoed and ancient devil power filled Wang Lin's right hand. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he fused his ancient god power with it. Time slowly passed. The fusion couldn't be complete, as if it was missing something. Ancient demon power, Wang Lin's eyes, became brighter and brighter. He waved his hand and a gourd flew out. This was given to him by a cultivator from the first area in order to save their life. At that moment, Wang Lin's divine sense swept by it, and he knew it was an ancient demon treasure, so it contained some ancient demon power. After he took it out, he knocked it, and ancient demon energy appeared. His left hand grabbed a portion of that energy and fused it with the ancient devil and ancient god power in his right hand. The 3 ancient order clans, their 3 auras instantly gathered and fused inside Wang Lin's hand, forming a unique force. It was far stronger than ancient god, ancient devil, or ancient demon power. Holding this force, Wang Lin felt like he was holding the world. Without hesitation, he wiped his hand across the girl's forehead. The girl opened her eyes and let out a miserable scream. The number mark between her eyebrows was wiped out by Wang Lin. Without the number mark, her body trembled violently. The fog around her seemed to boil and rushed at her from all directions. It was as if her existence was against the rules of the tomb, and it caused a series of upheavals. The tomb was going to erase this existence. This change was too sudden. Not even Wang Lin expected this. In an instant, the fog rushed in like crazy and the girl disappeared before Wang Lin in an instant. Brothers, have you not yet hit the like button for the video? Wish that the like button for the video would be hit. Chapter 1463. Cheating. Wang Lin's eyes became serious as he stared at the fog before him. The fog gradually disappeared, and the girl had disappeared. Interesting, Wang Lin muttered to himself. Then he looked at the number mark he had taken from her. He placed the mark on the side and allowed the platform to fly forward. After a long time, He took out another ancient devil soul and crushed it for ancient devil power. Then he took out more ancient demon power from the gourd and fused it with his ancient god power. Then, without hesitation, he moved his hand over his own forehead. There was a thunderous bang. Wang Lin's face trembled and his origin energy rapidly cycled. His face turned pale, but his eyes lit up. At this moment, the three powers formed a vortex between his eyebrows, and a sharp pain like something was stabbing him filled his body. A moment later, the intense pain disappeared and a number mark appeared between his eyebrows. Just as the number mark appeared, the fog surrounding him surged and roared like crazy. It seemed to want to devour Wang Lin and his 60,000-foot platform. It was as if Wang Lin's action had messed up the laws of this place. It was going to erase him, just like the girl from the ceiling extermination clan. Just as the fog rushed over, Wang Lin didn't hesitate to swipe his right hand across his forehead and rip off the mark. After he took off the mark, his face became even more pale, and his breathing became rough. He suddenly looked up and stared at the fog. He observed the movement of the fog and prepared to resist. However, right when Wang Lin took off his mark, the surrounding fog calmed down and slowly retreated. After a long time, Wang Lin's laughter echoed inside the fog. He looked at the number mark in his hand. He was certain of it now. He could be inside the ancient order tomb without the mark because he is an ancient god. However, this mark could be created, and it required the fusion of the three ancient clans. It was because of this that he wouldn't be erased like the girl from the ceiling extermination clan after the mark had been removed, because he shouldn't have one. This mark is just something the ancient order tomb gave to people not part of the three clans so they can exist in here for a short period of time. This is the ancient order tomb, so only the three ancient order clan members can enter. Others need the mark to enter. Once one's mark is gone, they are erased from the tomb. The reason the ancient order clan members don't have marks, but the platforms require marks to rank up, is to get the three ancient order clan members to kill the outsiders and take the marks. The outsiders are not inheritors, and they are part of the trial. I am the only inheritor, and if Tuo Sen is here, he is an inheritor as well. However, Tuo Sen is extremely arrogant, and his mind is a bit of a mess, so he might not think of this. Wang Lin looked at the mark in his hand and put it on the platform. It quickly fused with the platform. Killing others to obtain their marks is not the only method. I can compare to those old monsters, and I don't have enough time, but I do have another method. Wang Lin smiled as he fused the three clans' powers once more to form that mysterious power. He hesitantly pressed against his forehead, and the moment the mark appeared, he quickly removed it. 1, 2, 10, 30 in the blink of an eye, almost 100 number marks were created by Wang Lin using his body, and he fused them into the platform below him. Due to his frequent actions, the fog surrounding him was extremely intense and roared violently. However, Wang Lin controlled this very well and didn't give the fog a chance to get close. Using this almost cheating method, Wang Lin created hundreds of number marks and fused them with his platform. After absorbing the runes from the Heavenly Wolf Clan's Burly Man's platform, Wang Lin's platform already had a lot more than what was required for rank 6. Now that Wang Lin had used this almost perverted method to add more runes, his platform met the requirement for rank 7. As thunderous rumbles echoed, the platform under Wang Lin began to grow. Countless dust particles gathered from all directions within the fog, and the 60,000-foot platform started to grow. 63,000 feet, 6,700 feet, until it was 70,000 feet. Rank 7 platform. The 70,000-foot platform was extremely shocking. It looked like a small continent had appeared in the fog. As it moved, it created a powerful wind that made the fog not dare to approach it. Bursts of golden light came from the platform, causing the fog to retreat even more. Some of the fog retreated too slow and was hit by the golden light. It immediately dissipated as if it had evaporated. Another part of the map appeared in Wang Lin's mind. However, what he focused on wasn't the map, but the voice that appeared in his head the third time. The Earth Palace is for souls. This lord has killed 3 celestial lords and imprisoned their souls in there. I originally planned to refine them into my avatars, but those who come later can take them. However, these 3 souls are extremely powerful, so if you are not confident, don't release them. These 3 souls were all vicious individuals. The voice dissipated. Wang Lin's mind trembled and he finally understood what the Earth Palace that was mentioned the first time meant. He had also gained some clues about the Renhu sword. The moment Wang Lin's platform reached rank 7, Devil Master 9 Heavens, who was in the 8th map and had just reached rank 7 as well, stood up. He opened his eyes and looked back. Who the hell is he? How did he reach rank 7? There was a total of 6 people who had reached rank 5, and 1 person was absorbed by him, allowing him to rise to rank 6. How did he reach rank 7 in just a short period of time? Devil Master 9 Heavens was gloomy and puzzled. I use many avatars to kill people in the outer region to obtain runes for my platform. I assume he must have a similar method. Rank 7. I don't consider this worthwhile. My platform will soon reach rank 8. I want to see which of us will be faster. Devil Master 9 Heavens sat down once more. There was another platform in the 8th map, but instead of inside the fog, a platform that was soon about to reach rank 7 was flying above the fog. A woman in white was sitting on the platform, frowning. She was puzzled. She had also noticed that strange scene, but couldn't think of a reason. Who is it? I have a secret spell, so I can absorb the scattered runes in the Ancient Order tomb to upgrade the rank of my platform. How did he do it? Who the hell is he? Just as the woman in white rubbed her eyebrows, the platform under her trembled. It had absorbed enough runes to reach rank 7. This change interrupted her thoughts. There was an endless amount of air flowing through the 9th map, forcing Tuo Sen to slow down. His expression was ferocious as he stepped forward. Damn Ancient Order tomb. Damn Ancient Order to make this bullshit inheritance so difficult to obtain. Ancient Order Yimo, I am one of your clan members. If you don't give it to me, who else are you going to give it to? On the rank 1 platform beside Tuo Sen, the beautiful woman's expression became serious. She was no longer flirtatious, and she looked behind her. Another one appeared, however. It is far away from the 9th map. I am already in the 9th map, and with Tuo Sen guiding the way, I am much faster than them. Others might not be able to enter the Earth Palace. But I can. Also, Yimo didn't say the whole truth. Aside from those 3 celestial lords, there is something else that is something that even that old thing would want. There was a hint of greed in her eyes. No one could have imagined the method Wang Lin was using to increase the rank of his platform. Wang Lin didn't stop. He continued to use this method to form rune after rune. Their runes continued to fuse with the rank 7 platform, causing it to rapidly get close to rank 8. Wang Lin was already extremely skilled at this. With a wave of his hand, he would create a rune and instantly remove it from his head before placing it on the platform. Time passed. In just a few hours, the amount of runes on the platform had reached a terrifying number. There were enough ancient devil souls inside the bottle to withstand this kind of consumption. Wang Lin could also generate enough ancient god power. However, he didn't have much ancient demon power, and there wasn't much left in the gourd. Fortunately, Wang Lin had obtained several ancient demon treasures after coming here. In order to extract the ancient demon power, he was willing to destroy the treasures. This was just barely enough to keep up with the speed at which he formed the runes. After several hours, Wang Lin's last ancient demon treasure collapsed. He extracted the ancient demon power and fused it with ancient god and ancient devil powers. He created another rune and placed it on the platform. At this moment, there was a flash of golden light and the platform grew once more. The surrounding fog retreated like crazy and the entire fog sea was stirred up. The platform under Wang Lin expanded and instantly reached 80,000 feet. Rank 8 platform, the first rank 8 platform among everyone here. When the rank 8 platform appeared, the fog sea churned violently and was pushed away. Thunderous rumbles came from the churning fog sea, and it spread to all the areas in the maps. At this moment, all the cultivators in the Ancient Order tomb felt the violent change in the fog around them. Thank you all for the support, especially for the large golden gifts from Leo. Leo is so touched he could cry. By the end of this month, Leo's video is facing a challenge in the popular rankings, hoping to get more likes for the video. Chapter 1464. Who's faster? At this moment, there were an unknown amount of cultivators remaining inside the Ancient Order tomb. Their expressions all changed as they looked at the violent fog around them. They were in a daze. The fear of the unknown increased rapidly. A group of dozens of cultivators was trapped by fierce beasts inside the 3rd map, facing a struggle. At this moment, the fog surged and the humanoid beasts became filled with fear. They didn't have time to retreat before they were caught in the fog. It was as if they were hit by a giant hand and all died. Those dozens of cultivators couldn't dodge at all. They could only watch the fog sweep by them. The thunderous rumbles of the fog suppressed the miserable screams of their deaths. In the fourth map, a platform that had already reached rank 3 was rapidly moving forward. His eyes were filled with panic and he would look behind him from time to time. Far behind him were 3 platforms chasing him, ready to take his platform. However, the fog violently changed and slammed into the escaping cultivator. The platform wasn't able to resist at all and was devoured by the fog. This sudden change caused the expressions of those 3 to change greatly. However, the fog sea was even faster than them, and the wave instantly swept by. The 3 pursuers and their platforms all collapsed. Similar scenes took place all over the ancient order tomb, causing a large amount of death. What awaited those that luckily survived was a great surprise. Because too many cultivators had died in the fog sea, those runes were all flickering inside the fog. The surviving cultivators began to snatch them like crazy. No one among them could compete with Great Desolation. His runes had already reached a certain amount, and after stealing some more, another rank 5 platform was born. After becoming a rank 5 platform, he sensed the other platforms, and his expression changed. At the edge of the rank map, Devil Master 9 Heavens had just suppressed the puzzling feeling in his heart. His expression suddenly changed, and he became filled with disbelief. For the first time, his platform stopped. Impossible! Devil Master 9 Heavens' eyes were filled with horror. He clearly felt that the platform that had just reached rank 7 several hours ago had upgraded to a rank 8 platform, the first rank 8 platform. This change was beyond Devil Master 9 Heavens' expectations. If it wasn't for the fact that he could clearly feel it through the platform, he wouldn't have believed it. In less than a day, this person went from rank 5 to rank 8. This Devil Master 9 Heavens gasped and was startled. He was originally very confident he would be the first person to reach rank 8. However, the sudden change caused his mind to rumble. Who is this person? There was killing intent and dread in his eyes. He pondered for a bit and no longer moved forward. He controlled his platform to move backward rapidly. I have to see who this person is. Rank 8 after killing him. My chances will increase greatly. If I can find the secret of how he reached rank so fast, then Ancient Order Yimos Earth Palace will belong to this old man Mo Ping. Above the fog sea in the 8th map, the woman in white was also extremely gloomy. Her platform stopped, and a moment later, she let out a cold snort. She unexpectedly did the same thing and went backward toward the rank 8 platform. She clearly knew that if she didn't understand how this mysterious person had increased the rank of the platform so fast, it was likely that that person would reach rank 9 in a few hours. She was the same as the Devil Master 9 Heavens. They wouldn't allow something like that to happen. In the 9th map, the woman on the platform behind Tuo Sen stood up. There was no charm on her face. It was replaced by killing intent. This person must be removed. If I can obtain the method of rapidly increasing the rank of the platform, I can allow someone else to have it. While pondering, there was a flash of killing intent on her face. She ignored Tuo Sen and charged backwards with her platform. All spears were pointed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin was sitting on the 80,000-foot platform. This platform gave off a powerful golden light. It was like the sun. The surrounding fog moved and retreated because of him. The 8th map appeared in Wang Lin's head. A majority of the Ancient Order tomb was revealed to him. At this moment, the ancient voice echoed for the 4th time. The Heavens Palace contains my inheritance. Once my clan members' cultivation reaches the limit, they can return to the Ancient Order path, then leave the world and return to this Lord S homeworld. Find this Lord S clan. When the voice dissipated, Wang Lin felt even more clearly that 3 rank 7 platforms were rapidly closing in on him. He also felt that back in the 5th map, a new rank 5 platform was born. Wang Lin immediately guessed that the person on that platform was Great Desolation. At this moment, Great Desolation was also rushing toward him. My platform has raised 3 ranks in less than a day, so I must have scared them. Now they are coming to find an answer and kill me. Wang Lin's expression remained normal, and he sneered. He was able to clearly know the others' locations while on the rank 8 platform. However, the others only knew his rough direction. Unfortunately, I am out of ancient demon treasures. There is only 1 left, and it's not enough to reach rank 9. After the platform reached rank 8, it became a bottomless pit. Wang Lin faintly guessed that the demand would be extremely large. According to the law of the ancient order tomb, Wang Lin would have to kill everyone chasing him and steal their runes. Only then could he make his platform reach rank 9. However, Wang Lin would naturally not do something like this. He sneered as he controlled the platform below him. The rank 8 platform's speed was comparable to that of a third-step cultivator, and it was not something a rank 7 platform could compare to. Adding the fact that Wang Lin could accurately find their locations, he was confident they wouldn't catch him in a short period of time. Right now, I must find everything related to ancient demons and use my own method to make my platform reach rank 9. I want to see if I am faster or they faster. The platform under Wang Lin moved rapidly and thunderous rumbles echoed. The golden light forced the fog back, and without the fog, Wang Lin moved even faster. He clearly knew what his advantage was. He was the first to obtain the rank 8 platform, and the first to obtain the 8th map. The others were spending time to find the path in the 8th map, but Wang Lin didn't have to do any of this. All the paths and sealed lands in the 8th map were in Wang Lin's mind. Now I must be fast. Wang Lin didn't hesitate and didn't waste any time. He sat down on the platform and focused on sensing the others' positions. As he moved forward, a thunderous rumble echoed. He quickly moved through the 4 people chasing him and entered the 7th map. Devil Master Nine Heavens was also in the 7th map, and his face was extremely gloomy. The other party was like a slippery earthworm that had cleverly avoided his pursuit as if they knew his exact movements. It must be because the rank 8 platform can sense other platforms even more clearly. Devil Master Nine Heavens' eyes lit up, and his hand formed a seal. Then his hand slammed down on his platform, causing it to rush forward even faster. The woman in white and the beautiful woman quickly moved through the ancient order tomb. They continued to close in on Wang Lin. There was also great desolation. Although he was only rank 5 as a third-step cultivator, he had ways to make his platform move faster. He was also chasing after Wang Lin. In the 7th map, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. He clearly felt 2 auras closing in on him. One was coming from the right and the other from the left, both charging straight at him. His eyes lit up and the platform below him suddenly stopped. He didn't move forward, and instead rapidly went up hundreds of thousands of feet. The 2 auras also changed directions and followed him upwards. Before they got close, Wang Lin felt the fog around him being crushed and heard thunderous rumbles echoing. Wang Lin sneered as his platform suddenly stopped and no longer went up. Instead, he began diving down at an angle. Wang Lin stood up and looked behind him. There was a flash of coldness as he waved his hand and millions of marks appeared. The fog rumbled and a sea of fire appeared behind Wang Lin. A huge umbrella appeared in the sea of fire behind him. Realm-burning umbrella. Wang Lin roared as the giant umbrella appeared inside the fog. Umbrella! Open to destroy the world! Wang Lin coughed out blood, and the blood began to burn as it flew toward the umbrella. The umbrella showed signs of opening. It opened 20%. When the umbrella opened, a world-destroying fire rushed out and charged downwards. At this moment, a platform appeared on the left, and Devil Master Nine Heaven's figure could be seen on it. On the right, another platform appeared. The eyes of the woman in white were like lightning, but when she saw Wang Lin, she was clearly startled. As time goes on, a heavy dizziness is setting in. My mind can't cope. Tomorrow I will continue to burst forth with all my might. In 12 hours that will be doubling the likes for the video, hoping that everyone is ready with 2 likes for Leo. Thank you. Chapter 146, Core Formation 3. Before Wang Lin entered, he took out a black cloak to cover his head. After entering, he looked around the first floor and found that it mostly contained flying swords. All of the swords were high quality and sealed in boxes with talismans on each end to prevent the sword QI from escaping. In addition to all of these swords, there was a crystal pillar in the center of the room with 3 flying swords floating in the middle with the tips of the swords pointing down. The 3 flying swords dimmed and brightened. Sometimes they would even shine brightly. As Wang Lin looked at the 3 swords in the center, a worker walked up. He was about 20 years old and looked very bright. He carefully examined Wang Lin. It was pretty normal for customers to hide their faces because many cultivators didn't want to be recognized. As for Wang Lin's cultivation level, he had the treasure refining pavilion's own special technique to check. The more he checked, the more excited he became, because Wang Lin's cultivation level kept changing between core formation and peak late-stage foundation establishment. Although this worker was surprised, he didn't show it on his face. He respectfully asked, "Does Senior have his eyes on these flying swords?" Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and looked at the worker. He was instantly able to see that the worker was at 7th or 8th layer of QI condensation and calmly asked, "Does the treasure refining pavilion sell pill furnaces?" The worker nodded and smiled. "Senior, I'm afraid that you will only find pill furnaces in our treasure refining pavilion, as they are not things normal people can buy. If Senior is interested, please follow me to the 2nd floor." Wang Lin calmly walked toward the stairs. The worker quickly followed to lead the way. Just before he stepped on the ladder, he turned and looked at a cultivator that was currently bargaining with a worker. He pondered for a moment before stepping onto the stairs. After arriving at the 2nd floor, the worker quickly went to talk to a middle-aged man in a room to the right before quickly returning downstairs. The middle-aged man didn't have any hair and his eyes occasionally shone. He got up, clasped his hands and said, "What quality of pill furnace does fellow cultivator want?" Wang Lin took a look at the middle-aged man and found that this middle-aged man's cultivation level was at the peak of foundation establishment, just like him. He was surprised by this. The 1st floor had a QI condensation cultivator, and the 2nd floor had a foundation establishment cultivator. Does this mean that there is a core formation cultivator in charge of the 3rd floor? Wang Lin's expression was relaxed as he asked, "Could you take out a few for me to see?" The middle-aged man laughed and pointed at the chair to the side. "Fellow cultivator, please sit and I'll go grab him for you." With that, he poured a cup of tea before walking next to a wall and hitting it. Ripples appeared on the wall. Then it turned more and more illusionary. Then 3 beautiful girls walked out, each holding a white jade tray. On each tray was a large, red box. Each box was about 2 square feet. These 3 wooden boxes were the exact same size, but the patterns engraved on them were different. There were also seals placed on every box. The 3 beautiful girls walked up to Wang Lin and gazed at him. The middle-aged man picked up one of the wooden boxes, placed it on the table and said, "Fellow cultivator, this is forged from the green star rock and mysterious fog crystal from the depths of the Sea of Devils. It took 49 months of refining to create this mysterious green pill furnace. This is a rank 3 pill furnace." With that, he tapped the box, causing it to open, revealing a fist-sized pill furnace. Wang Lin's expression was calm. He remembered that Li Muan told him that the pill furnace she carried around was only a rank 2-1, and that she would need a rank 4 or better pill furnace to ensure there. Weren't any problems with the distant heaven pill? After taking one look, Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. He didn't say a word. The middle-aged man faintly smiled. He waved his arms and the box returned to the jade tray. He passed over the 2nd girl and directly grabbed the box from the 3rd girl's tray. He gently placed it on the table and smiled. "I believe fellow cultivator must be refining a top-quality pill. This pill furnace is refined from the cores of 99 low-quality spirit beasts from the Sea of Devils. It is called the 100 Beast Pill Furnace. If you use this pill furnace to refine a pill, there is a high chance of the pill absorbing some of the beast core's aura. This will increase the quality of the pill." With that, he tapped the wooden box. The box slowly opened, revealing a blood-red pill furnace. If one looked closely at it, they would see the face of 99 spirit beasts. These spirit beasts looked as if they were real. They even gave off slivers of spiritual energy. This furnace was also in a sealed state. If it was unsealed, the spiritual energy inside it would surge forth. Even Wang Lin was tempted by this 100 beast pill furnace, but his expression didn't change at all. The middle-aged man touched the wooden box and said, "Fellow cultivator must know that low-quality spirit beasts are equal to core formation cultivators. Our sect spent a lot of time and effort to make this pill furnace. This pill furnace has reached rank 5. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. After pondering for a bit, he asked, "What price?" The middle-aged man smiled and answered, "The standard price is 100,000 high-quality spirit stones, or you can take out a treasure that is equal to that price." After hearing this price, Wang Lin's heart sank, even though he was prepared for it. No wonder the fighting evil sect head used up almost all the money of the sect to buy just one. The smile remained on the middle-aged man's face as he poured himself a cup of tea, took a sip and said, "This 100 beast pill furnace is indeed expensive. How about fellow cultivator considers the mysterious green pill furnace from before instead? Although it is still 100,000 spirit stones, It is mid-quality spirit stones, which is only 10,000 high-quality spirit stones. Wang Lin looked at him and slapped his bag of holding. A piece of dragon hide appeared on the table. "Dragoness hide," the middle-aged man said in surprised tone. He picked it up and carefully examined it, then said, "This is the hide of a medium-quality dragon spirit beast. How much more of this do you have?" Wang Lin's expression remained calm. He didn't answer. Instead, he asked, "How much is needed to exchange for the 100 beast pill furnace?" The middle-aged man lowered his head and calculated for a bit before raising it. He looked at Wang Lin and said, "If the dragon is at least 1,000 meters long, then the entire hide would be enough to exchange for it." Without a word, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and the dragon's hide formed a small mountain before the middle-aged man. Wang Lin didn't even look at the middle-aged man as he grabbed the pill furnace and walked down the stairs. The middle-aged man breathed rapidly and looked at the dragon's hide. He spread out his divine sense and found that although it was missing a small piece, it was not much different from a complete dragon. The complete hide of a medium-quality dragon spirit beast. It has to be said that a medium-quality spirit beast is the same as a nascent soul cultivator. Even in the inner parts of the Sea of Devils, it could be considered a powerhouse. Although the middle-aged man had seen a lot, he had only seen the complete hides of low-quality spirit beasts. As for the hides of medium-quality spirit beasts, he had only seen pieces. This was the first time he had seen the complete hide of a medium-quality spirit beast. When he raised his head, Wang Lin had already put the box inside his bag of holding and quickly went downstairs. Wang Lin knew well that it was not wise to display his wealth to others. This was why he decided to cover himself. However, he still didn't feel safe. Even though he didn't understand the value of the dragon hide as much as the middle-aged man, he knew that it was a rare material. If the middle-aged man were to start thinking about the other parts of the dragon and got greedy, it would cause trouble. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he didn't want to trade the dragon's hide, but the price of the pill furnace was simply too high. Aside from the dragon's hide, the only other thing he had was the spirit liquid. In comparison, if he were to take out something heaven-defying like the spirit liquid, it would cause even more problems. After considering the choices, he decided to trade the dragon's hide and quickly leave. He left the treasure refining pavilion and coldly looked across the street. When he went upstairs, he had already noticed someone spying on him, so he left a trace of his divine sense on that person. When he came out, he noticed that that person was in the inn across the street. There were quite a few people in the inn, including 3 core formation cultivators next to the person Wang Lin had left a trace of his divine sense in. Wang Lin pondered a bit and decided to not detonate the divine sense. After making a few turns, he took a step and activated his earth escape technique. However, there was a flash of white light, and he didn't enter the ground. The entire city was covered in a formation that prevented his earth escape technique from working. Wang Lin's brow furrowed as he jumped into the air and flew toward the city gates. He only flew for a bit before a black-clothed cultivator arrived at the spot where Wang Lin attempted to use the earth escape technique. He looked at the direction Wang Lin flew in and licked his lips. His eyes were filled with greed. This cultivator was one of the people that was bargaining on the first floor when Wang Lin entered. This person was named Wei San. He was one of the disciples of the fighting evil sect who had come to buy stuff in Nandu. When he saw Wang Lin enter the second floor, he was tempted and casually took a few glances before watching from the inn across the street. He even sent out a voice transmission jade to fellow fighting evil sect disciples who were also in town buying stuff. After a long time, he saw Wang Lin leave and calculated that Wang Lin must have gotten some treasures. Wei San couldn't help but get some evil ideas. But he couldn't see through Wang Lin's cultivation level. Based on his guesses, Wang Lin must have been at the core formation stage. This made him want to back down, but when his fellow disciples arrived with some elders, he was very happy and explained everything in detail. Besides him, more than 10 people appeared, all at various cultivation levels. Most of them were at the foundation establishment stage, but 3 of them were covered in black fog. These 3 were the 3 cultivators that caused Wang Lin to worry. Wei San turned around and respectfully said, "Elders, I can believe that you 3 are in Nandu as well. I'm sure that that person must have some sort of treasure on him." A husky voice filled with anger said, "Wei San, you exaggerated too much. I thought it was really a core formation cultivator." How could a mere pseudo-core formation cultivator have any treasure? What a waste of time. The second watch has come. So thankful for the praise from the new clan leader. Last night Leo started from the starting point, immediately saw a new follower. I'm ecstatic. Thank you, everyone. Chapter 1465. Living Ancient Demon. The realm-burning umbrella was powerful, and although it was only 20%, the realm-burning fire couldn't be blocked by any force. At this moment, the sea of fire spread out from the umbrella and destroyed everything in its path. The surrounding fog was surrounded by the fog and began to burn. The burning fog was pushed back, creating an even more powerful storm. Devil Master Nine Heaven's figure appeared, and his expression became serious. If his original body was here, it would have been fine, but his avatar that had restricted cultivation had to avoid the fire. There was also the woman in white. Her expression changed many times, but no one knew what she was thinking. She lowered her head and quickly retreated. As the two of them retreated, Wang Lin wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He borrowed the force of the fire to move even faster, and he instantly reached the edge of the 7th map. Just as he was about to enter the 8th map, Devil Master Nine Heavens looked into the distance. His gaze seemed to be able to penetrate the void and clearly see Wang Lin wipe away the blood. He pointed to between his eyebrows and murmured, "As long as I can see you once, as long as I have seen your figure once, it's enough no matter how far you are from me. Even if we are blocked by a mountain that separates two realms, this Lord can kill you." Point at the celestial through the mountain. His right hand suddenly rose and mercilessly pointed forward. At this moment, Wang Lin's figure appeared in his eyes, maintaining the pose of holding the ancient umbrella. As he pointed, Wang Lin's figure began to distort and a mysterious force rushed at him in an attempt to tear the figure apart. Just as he used this spell that was second only to fishing the moon in the well, the beautiful woman in white suddenly looked up. There was a decisive gaze in her eyes. Her jade-like hand waved, and she softly said, "Heaven Gate S3 Douse. 3 gates of sun, moon, and star, open." As her words echoed, her right hand formed a seal. Countless rays of starlight suddenly appeared before Devil Master Nine Heavens. The rays of starlight crossed together and suddenly formed a giant door that pierced through the sky. It was extremely similar to the Void Gate, but the essence was not the same. The Star Gate appeared the moment Devil Master Nine Heavens pointed forward, and these two Tao spells instantly collided. There was no sound and no ripple spread, but the Stargate trembled. It then dissipated inside the Ancient Order tomb. At the same time, Devil Master Nine Heavens coughed out blood, his face turned pale, and he was knocked back thousands of feet. He looked at the woman in white and shouted, "Why is a celestial concubine stopping me?" The woman in white was also slightly pale, and she retreated several thousand feet, but she remained calm. She slowly said, "Why do I have to explain myself to you? What do you count as?" Devil Master Nine Heavens stared at the woman in white for a while, and then his expression gradually calmed down, revealing no anger. He revealed a smile on the corner of his mouth and shook his head. He turned around and went around her as he chased Wang Lin into the 8th map. The woman in white frowned and withdrew her gaze. She looked at where Wang Lin disappeared and continued forward. When Wang Lin entered the 8th map, he immediately felt a powerful chill, and a sense of danger filled his mind. He didn't hesitate to point to the spot between his brows, causing the Emperor Furnace to appear. It surrounded him as he charged into the 8th map. After entering the 8th map, the sense of danger disappeared. He looked behind him and charged into the depths without hesitation. Shortly after he left, Devil Master Nine Heavens arrived. The 8th map was extremely foreign to him. After pondering a bit, he continued to chase based on that vague feeling from the platform. At the same time, the charming woman entered the 8th map from the 9th map. No one was more familiar with 8th map than Wang Lin. Wang Lin moved extremely fast through the 8th map. There were 3 sealed lands here, and they were all marked in the language of the Ancient Order, God, Demon, Devil. Wang Lin would have chosen the sealed land marked Ancient God, but right now he didn't hesitate to head to the Ancient Demon sealed land. With a precise goal, Wang Lin didn't waste time. In 1 hour, he approached the Ancient Devil sealed land. At this moment, everyone else was chasing after him through that vague feeling. Wang Lin calculated that he would have half an hour before they caught up. Half an hour, Wang Lin's eyes lit up when he saw a vortex tens of thousands of feet away from him. This vortex was loud and filled with demonic energy. Just this demonic energy was enough to make one's heart tremble. After closing in, Wang Lin clearly felt that there was a powerful vitality coming from the vortex. A living ancient demon, Wang Lin gasped. He stared at the vortex. Deep within the vortex, there was a figure sitting inside a cyclone with a seal on it. It was due to the seal that the ancient demon couldn't escape. It seemed to be sleeping. The demonic energy here was very strong, and the vitality here made Wang Lin certain that not only was the ancient demon alive, it was extremely powerful. If it didn't have 9 stars, it would have at least 8 stars. Wang Lin frowned, but soon his eyebrows relaxed, and he revealed a grim smile. He carefully got off the platform and put it away before moving toward the vortex. As soon as he entered the vortex, howls echoed in his ears. The demonic energy inside the vortex was like a violent storm, and it entangled Wang Lin as if it wanted to tear his body apart. He was only able to move 1,000 feet before he couldn't move anymore. This distance was almost nothing compared to how far the center was. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and his ancient god stars appeared. Wang Lin's stars quickly rotated and ancient god power filled his eyes. He clenched his teeth and took a few steps forward, each step crossing thousands of feet. In the blink of an eye, he entered the center of the area. He was almost at his limit, and he could go a few steps more, but he chose not to do so. Wang Lin sat down and took out the ancient devil bottle. After extracting the ancient devil power, his own ancient god power surged out. Then his left hand grabbed some ancient demon power, and the three fused. The mysterious force appeared once more, and he quickly pressed it between his eyebrows. Just as the rune appeared, he retrieved it. He moved faster and faster as he continued to repeat this action. The ancient demon aura was being extracted by Wang Lin, and the number of souls inside the ancient devil bottle was decreasing. More and more runes appeared. Time passed and a majority of the half hour had gone by. The number of runes created by Wang Lin had reached thousands with all the ancient demon power here. Extract the ancient devil soul, grab the ancient demon power, and inject his own ancient god power. Wang Lin was extremely proficient with this series of actions. A bit faster. Although he was already making them very fast, he was still far from reaching rank 9. Wang Lin could feel that 4 auras were rushing at him, so he moved faster and faster. Shortly after, a rumble echoed, and a platform 70,000 feet wide arrived. There was a charming woman standing on top of it. Before she even arrived, her charming laughter could be heard. Her laugh contained a hint of charm, and when it entered Wang Lin's ears, his mind trembled. His thoughts wandered to that time he spent with Liu Mei in the Suzaku tomb. This caused his face to turn pale, and his expression turned ice cold. He coldly stared at the platform and the woman on top. Due to his 2,000 years of cultivation and the pain he had suffered inside the Suzaku tomb, he was able to suppress this strange feeling. His eyes became colder and colder. When the woman arrived, he retreated further into the vortex, where he sat down once more. He ignored the woman as he closed his eyes and continued to make runes. So it's you. If Big Sister didn't already have Tuo-sen, I wouldn't want to hurt you. The woman in pink smiled, but there was a hint of surprise in her eyes. She glanced at the depths of the vortex and felt the ancient demon inside her eye became serious. Although her laughter sounded normal, it contained her Dao spell. However, Wang Lin was only confused for a moment and instantly awakened. She couldn't help but have a strange thought. Could it be that this little fellow has never tasted a woman? The woman's eyes lit up and she licked her lips. Then she laughed and entered the vortex, making her way toward Wang Lin. At the same time, Devil Master 9 Heavens arrived. He put away his platform and entered the vortex. The new chapter is late, but it has over 500 more words than the previous ones. I hope not to be hit. Wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1466. Clap once. One of the celestial concubines and Devil Master 9 Heaven both entered the vortex and charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he stared at the two of them, but he didn't move. He continued to fuse the 3 ancient order powers and create runes. He wasn't afraid of the others seeing him doing this, as no one else beside Tuo-sen could do this. He is actually making the runes himself. When Devil Master 9 Heaven saw this, his pupils shrank, but he stopped. However, his movements became more gentle when he saw the ancient demon inside. He seemed to have guessed something, and didn't want to disturb the ancient demon. The woman in pink also saw Wang Lin's actions. She was startled for a moment and immediately understood everything. She shook her head and quickly closed in. This vortex was extremely powerful, and the deeper one went, the more difficult it became. Devil Master 9 Heavens and the woman slowed down, but they still moved rapidly through the vortex. Due to the ancient demon aura raging here, all spells used in this place would be affected. However, these two were extremely powerful and instantly crossed 7,000 feet. They were getting closer and closer to Wang Lin. Wang Lin stared at the two of them. When they were no more than 1,000 feet away, Wang Lin waved his right hand. The ancient devil bottle appeared and a large amount of ancient devil souls came out of it. At the same time, Wang Lin's ancient god stars rotated rapidly and a large amount of ancient god power rushed out, forming a vortex. There was already a huge amount of ancient demon aura here, and the three instantly fused into one. In a flash, the power of the three clans fused, forming the mysterious power that could create the runes. With a roar, this power filled Wang Lin's body. In a flash, Wang Lin's entire body was covered in countless runes. All of this happened in a flash. It was unimaginably fast. The expressions of Devil Master 9 Heavens and the woman in pink changed. They no longer cared about disturbing the sleeping ancient demon and charged at Wang Lin. At this moment, another platform closed in on the vortex. It was Great Desolation, who also stepped into the vortex as soon as he arrived. After Great Desolation came the woman in white. She frowned as she put away her platform and walked into the vortex. Just as Devil Master 9 Heavens and the woman in pink closed in, Wang Lin sneered. "You relate!" Wang Lin's body trembled, but he didn't care that they were closing in. The runes around him were shaken off his body and floated around him. At the same time, Wang Lin waved his hand, and the large amount of the runes he had created appeared. Then, Wang Lin jumped into the air, and with a wave of his sleeve, his 80,000-foot platform appeared. The moment the platform appeared, it absorbed all the runes he had created. A bright, golden light shined and swept out in all directions. Thunderous rumbles echoed like crazy. After absorbing all the runes, the 80,000-foot platform began to swell. 82,000 feet, 84,000 feet, until it was 90,000 feet. Rank 9 platform. The moment the platform appeared, the golden light dissipated and no color appeared. Not only that, but the platform trembled even more violently. Wang Lin took a step and stood on the rank 9 platform. Rank 9 platform! A cold light flashed in Devil Master 9 Heaven's eyes, and he charged forward without hesitation. The expression of the woman in pink also changed, and she charged at the platform. There was also Great Desolation, who was filled with greed. He also charged in. Only the woman in white retreated while pondering. It seemed she was backing out of this. However, just at this moment, a shocking change occurred. A shocking howl came from the ancient Order tomb. It sounded far, but a moment later, it would be next to your ears. In the 9th map, Tuo Sen was roaring and charging forward. However, his expression suddenly changed, and he quickly dodged to the side. Thunderous rumbles came from the endless void ahead. He could clearly see a giant arm extend out from the fog and dangerously sweep by behind him. Although it didn't touch Tuo Sen, the shockwave it set off hit his body. Even with his powerful body, he was knocked back and coughed out blood. It took a lot of effort to stop himself, and a rare hint of fear appeared in Tuo Sen, who was not afraid of anything, as he looked at the giant arm that was quickly flying into the distance. This arm swept across the ancient Order tomb, toward the 8th map. At the same time, in the 1st map, another giant arm swept through the fog. A few dozen cultivators were still in the 1st map, and they were moving through the fog. In a flash, a thunderous rumble replaced all sounds, and before they could react, the giant arm swept by. Their miserable screams of death were covered by the rumble. After the arm passed by, none of them survived. Even their platforms had collapsed. This arm was 10 times faster than the one from the 9th map. It was like a flying mountain as it moved at a speed that could match arcane void cultivators. It swept through the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, until it was through the 7th map. All the cultivators in the path of the arm were unable to avoid it, and all died. There were some that had rank 4 platforms, but it made no difference. They all died. The 2 giant arms were like a giant closing his hands around his head to slap himself. Their speed could only be described as an instant. just as Wang Lin's Rank 9 platform and Devil Master 9 Heavens and the others were about to collide. The two arms swept across the Ancient Order tomb to arrive in the 8th map. The howls that had entered everyone's ears were from those two giant arms. It was impossible to describe the shock everyone felt when they saw the two arms that were hundreds of thousands of feet thick. They moved at a speed faster than anyone could react and appeared outside the ancient demon vortex. The arms appeared on the two sides of the vortex and instantly closed in. The vortex instantly collapsed without any chance of resisting. As the vortex collapsed, the two giant arms instantly closed in. The two giant arms swept by everyone and clapped toward the first Rank 9 platform that had appeared. The woman in white retreated first and backed away in terror, avoiding the arms. However, she was hit by the shockwave, causing her to cough out blood. She was thrown far away. Great Desolation was not this lucky. He was the last one here and the one closest to one of the arms. He couldn't T-dodge at all before the arm landed on his body. His body turned into mush. Not even Tao Master Miao Yin's avatar, the body of a third-step cultivator, could survive one blow. Great Desolation let out a miserable scream and his soul screamed. He was about to escape. However, the blast from the arm extinguished his soul. All of this happened in a flash. The arm charged toward the rank platform behind Devil Master 9 Heaven and the woman in pink. Devil Master 9 Heaven's face instantly turned pale. His face had always alternated between that of a young man and that of an old man. Right now, it remained an old man as his hand formed a seal and he collided with the arm. Thunderous rumbles echoed and he coughed out blood. His face rapidly changed from an old man to a middle-aged man. He coughed out another mouthful of blood and his face turned from a middle-aged man to a young man. At this moment, the countless avatars of Devil Master 9 Heavens all died. Their deaths gave him a chance of surviving. Devil Master 9 Heavens, who had turned into a young man, disappeared, allowing the arm to sweep by. Then he reappeared, and blood was flowing out from the corner of his mouth. He quickly backed away, his eyes filled with horror. As for the woman in pink, her expression changed greatly. Her hands formed a seal and she spat out a mouthful of pink mist. There was a black ribbon inside it, and she grabbed it. She used the ribbon to move to the side but was still touched by a finger. She coughed out blood and rapidly retreated. In the other direction, the other arm crushed the vortex and swept by the chaotic cyclone the ancient demon was in. The seal was crushed. The moment the seal was crushed, the ancient demon opened his eyes. There were 8.5 stars rotating in his left eye. He had awakened. The instant the giant arms swept by, the awakened ancient demon let out a sharp roar. The moment he roared, his body turned transparent, allowing the arm to pierce through toward the rank platform. The two giant arms appeared on two sides of the platform. In a flash, they landed on the first rank 9 platform. The platform trembled and began to crumble. The arms pierced through everything and clapped together before Wang Lin. The two arms slowly opened as if they had grabbed onto the void. It was as if the void was a piece of paper, and a giant rift was torn open by the arms. There was a strange world inside the rift. Wang Lin's face was pale. He hadn't been injured by the arms, but the scene that appeared before him shook his mind. The end of the year is here, brothers. Give a like for Leo. Chapter 1467. Upheaval in the Ancient Order Tomb. An upheaval began inside the Ancient Order tomb. After the rift was opened, all the fog began to churn and rumble violently. The change inside caused the outside to change as well. At this moment outside the Ancient Order tomb, the rift that had disappeared reappeared once more. The fog outside seemed to connect with the fog inside, and it began to churn. The sound of the fog colliding spread far and wide. The moment the rift appeared once more, the fog was pulled back into the rift. The rift seemed to contain a powerful suction, and the fog was being pulled in. In a flash, more than half was pulled back in, and the rest was still being rapidly sucked back into the rift. Not far away from the Ancient Order tomb, on a dead plant, Great Desolation's main body opened his eyes. His face was pale and there was a merciless gaze in his eyes. In his life, he loved breaking vows, but everyone who knew about this habit had died, so it never spread. Although he had some friendship with the second-generation Vermilion Bird, how could it compare to benefits? It was due to his personality that he had almost no friends after tens of thousands of years of cultivation. He let out a cold snort and his body disappeared. He reappeared outside the fog that was being rapidly sucked in. His body floated inside the fog like a motionless mountain as he stared at the fog with a cold gaze. After pondering for a bit, there was a hint of determination in his eyes. There is no limit on the cultivation level of who can enter Great Desolation. Pondered a bit, and then charged into the rift without hesitation. The moment the rift began to absorb the fog, there was an illusory planet far away. The planet was covered in a purple ocean, and the waves rumbled. In the depths of the ocean sat an old man. At this moment, he opened his eyes, and a cold light flashed within them. Great Desolation dared to steal my avatar, and that person dared to ruin my plan. Right now, an upheaval is happening in the tomb, and the restriction to enter has disappeared. The old man pondered for a moment, and then waved his hand. The waves surged before him, and a giant door made of the ocean appeared before him. The old man stood up and stepped into the gate. His figure appeared outside the Ancient Order tomb. At this moment, the space before the old man distorted and seemed to be divided into 9 worlds. A person walked out from this distortion. This person was an old, middle-aged man, and his face was dark. After he appeared, his eyes were like lightning as he glanced at Tao Master Miao Yin. Old Taoist Miao Yin, who has in tea left the purple ocean for tens of thousands of years, has also come to these muddy waters. Since you, old Master Nine Heavens, can come, then this old man can as well, Tao Master Miao Yin said with a hoarse. The two looked at each other and stopped talking, then they looked at the rift devouring the fog. After a while, Tao Master Miao Yin suddenly said, "Great Desolation, old poison has already gone in." Devil Master Nine Heavens frowned and said, "Could it be a trap?" It shouldn't be someone who can set up a trap in the Ancient Order tomb. Would they do something like this? The two looked at each other, their gazes filled with determination. Great Desolation must be sealed. I can help you seal Great Desolation, but I'll take 60% of his treasures. That's fine, but that little fellow is mine. The two of them made an agreement and charged at the rift that was calmly floating there after devouring all the fog. Just as the two were about to enter, the ancient star system trembled. A powerful force began to condense from all directions. In a flash, it turned into an illusory palm and floated above the rift. This palm print was very large enough to cover this star domain. Tao Master Miao Yin stopped and looked at the palm print. Devil Master Nine Heavens frowned and also stopped. Black gas appeared below the palm print, forming a black figure. This person was covered by a black robe, making it impossible to see them clearly. The great battle is about to start, so nothing can happen to the two of you. This Ancient Order tomb don't go. After a brief moment of silence, the rift didn't shrink. It was as if it was waiting for cultivators to enter. Tao Master Miao Yin looked at the person in the black robe and said, "You divinate an accident will happen?" "I haven't divinated it, yet the man in the black robe's voice sounded ancient. "No accident will happen. Even if one does, you will have a way of saving us." Tao Master Miao Yin turned around and entered the tomb. Devil Master Nine Heavens smiled and clasped his hands. "It looks like your injuries have mostly recovered. If any accident happens, we'll be troubling you." Devil Master Nine Heavens stepped into the rift with no hesitation. The rift still remained, floating there. The blurry figure in black stood there and let out a sigh after a long time. "I hope nothing happens." 2 of the 5 masters, Arcane Void Great Desolation, Zhou Jin, and 2 of the ancient celestial concubines. They are 30% of my ancient star system's power. All of them have entered the Ancient Order tomb. I am worried. Inside the Ancient Order tomb, the 2 giant arms had swept by as if they were going to destroy the first rank 9 platform, but they had opened up a rift to another world. Wang Lin's face was pale, but he didn't hesitate at all. The moment the rift appeared, he stepped inside. The others could only watch Wang Lin disappear. Due to power of the arms, they didn't dare to move forward. The moment Wang Lin entered the rift, the 2 giant hands slowly dissipated. However, the danger wasn't gone. The eyes of the ancient demon that had been released turned red. He then licked his lips and let out a sharp roar. The moment Wang Lin entered the rift, the 9th map instantly appeared in his mind. However, at this moment, the 9th map had no use. At the same time, the ancient voice echoed inside Wang Lin's mind. "Rank platform, thou art qualified to obtain my inheritance. You can enter the reincarnation door and enter my heaven palace. However, my heaven palace has been sealed by my enemy. So you will need great cultivation, and great luck to enter in my life. There is only one regret: the door to the left blocks my path of retreat. Li Guang shot down my left eye, which contained half my memories of my hometown inheritor. If you can become an ancient if the words dissipated. The last two sentences was too vague. Wang Lin's vision blurred for a moment, and when he regained it, he was in an incredibly large palace. This palace was like the sky, and it was difficult to see the end. The entire palace was bright and gave off a sense of majesty, but there was also a sinister feeling to it. This sinister aura was coming from the 4 rows of cultivator corpses. Each row had nearly 1,000 cultivators. They all stood there with blood coming out of their orifices. Their eyes were open, filled with killing intent. These people's clothes were extremely strange and very different from what Wang Lin had seen. Their clothes were like flowing water, as if they were living. Wang Lin had only seen these clothes back in the Scatter Thunder clan, when he saw those images of the past. There were green flames burning above their hands, making popping sounds inside the palace. Wang Lin floated in the palace and looked at these cultivators. These people had become the light source in here. Their corpses and origin souls formed the candle for the burning flames. Looking at this, the sinister feeling became even stronger. Wang Lin's gaze followed those cultivators and looked into the hall. There was a huge stone platform and a huge seat above it. There was a huge crack on the platform below the chair. It contained a shocking aura that still existed to this day. It was as if someone had used a sword or arrow that could break through everything in the world and attack the person sitting on the chair. This seat was empty, except for a ball of light that emitted a gentle glow that quietly floated there. At the center of the 4 rows of cultivators, there was a furnace thousands of feet tall. There was incense burning inside and smoke floated upwards. Wang Lin pondered and then gradually flew into the air. His gaze swept past the platform and he saw a portion of the palace. Behind this platform there was also a giant furnace between 4 rows of cultivators. They remained motionless, with the same expressions as the others. There were flames burning above their heads as well. There was a furnace in each of the 8 directions around the platform, forming an octagon, and there were countless cultivators. Wang Lin's mind trembled as he observed everything before him. After a long time, he took a deep breath. What he saw now wasn't the entire hall. After pondering for a bit, he waved his hand and a wind swept by. Light filled the palace, allowing Wang Lin to see even further away. When he saw what was in the distance, his pupils shrank. The last 2 days of the month are upon us, wishing for the like button for the video. Right now, it's about doubling the likes for the video. Very grateful and will return the favor. Chapter 1468, Borrowed Power. He saw 8 mountains of corpses outside this octagon. The blood on these countless corpses had already dried. They had been piled up to form 8 giant mountains. The gloomy aura seemed even more intense as Wang Lin looked over. However, this wasn't the end. As Wang Lin's gaze swept by, he saw even more, and his mind trembled. Behind the corpse mountains were 8 giant dragons hundreds of thousands of feet long. These dragons had their mouths open and gave off a fierce aura. However, right now they were only stone, but there was a mysterious force that allowed them to remain floating. The dragons' heads were facing the platform as if they were roaring at the person that used to sit on that throne. There were countless giant battle chariots behind the dragons. These chariots looked terrifying and were covered in thorns. There were dark bloodstains on them. It was obvious they were part of a big battle in the past. There were countless cultivators on flying swords floating behind the war chariots. Although their bodies had turned to stone, they remained in the air and were filled with killing intent. Behind them there were no less than millions of cultivators. They retained their behavior from when they were alive, and they seemed to want to charge forward as if they had gone crazy. The number of cultivators seemed to be boundless. There were hundreds of towering figures with their backs to the platform. They were waving their arms as if they were driving something way in the distance. 8 shadows as big as the palace seemed to appear. They were among the crowd of cultivators and began a frenzied massacre. The more Wang Lin saw, the more shocked he became. He gradually moved his gaze to the throne, and he saw a unique cultivator in front of the throne. This cultivator was holding an umbrella as he floated in the air. Although he had been turned into stone, his left hand was raised and was pointing at the throne. As Wang Lin's gaze moved, he saw the last person in the palace standing behind the person with the umbrella. This was a cultivator with his eyes closed. He floated in the air with his left hand forming a fist as if he is grabbing something. His right arm was bent as if he was pulling something. If you were to put a bow in his hand, he would be pulling the bow. There was only the soft sound of candles burning in the palace. After a long time, Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and looked at the huge platform. After pondering a bit, he landed on the stone platform. Standing here, Wang Lin could see endless cultivators with ferocious expressions, their eyes filled with killing intent. At this moment, it felt as if all of that killing intent was gathered on Wang Lin. The killing intent from all 8 directions seemed to turn solid and rushed at him. Wang Lin retreated a few steps before the throne, and his face became even more pale. The giant crack on the bottom of the platform under the throne gave off a monstrous killing intent. It was as if an arrow had flown past the countless cultivators, the chariots, the members of the ancient clans, and everything else straight toward the person on the throne. While pondering, there was a force pulling him. The voice that had appeared 5 times in his head caused Wang Lin to slowly sit down on the throne. Just as he sat down, his body trembled and then rapidly expanded. In a flash, he was thousands of feet tall, revealing his ancient god body. 6 ancient god stars appeared between his eyebrows and began to rotate. However, just at this moment, demonic energy came from the throne and rushed into Wang Lin's body from his left arm. Eventually, it all gathered in his left eye, forming 6 phantom stars. An instant later, a monstrous devilish energy rushed out from the throne. It rushed into Wang Lin's body through his right arm and gathered in his right eye, forming 6 phantom stars. Although the stars in his eyes were phantoms, when they appeared, they rotated in the same trajectory as the 6 stars between his eyebrows. At this instant, Wang Lin's mind trembled and time seemed to revert. He gradually forgot everything, and his body gave off a sense of majesty. This aura was tyrannical. This aura belonged to someone who would look coldly at a calamity that was causing the world to collapse. He looked ahead and gradually became more calm, but that sense of majesty became even stronger. At this moment, the aura Wang Lin gave off would make even third-step cultivators suffocate. The first person to feel this aura was esteemed Ling Dong inside Wang Lin's Emperor Furnace. He was fully focused on suppressing Zhou Jin and was working with the Emperor Furnace to refine him. However, the moment the tyrannical aura gathered, esteemed Ling Dong's face went pale and his expression changed greatly. He was filled with fear and stopped whatever he was doing. He was forced out of the Emperor Furnace, out of the star, and out of Wang Lin's body. It was as if he would be crushed and killed by this aura if he didn't leave. Wang Lin's stars rotated rapidly as esteemed Ling Dong was forced out. When he saw Wang Lin, he immediately knelt down on the platform. It was only after he knelt that pressure dissipated a bit, but it was still strong. It was as if countless mountains were waiting on top of his head. He felt like he was no longer a third-step cultivator but a mortal. His body trembled, and he didn't even dare to lift his head. There was still another third-step cultivator named Zhou Jin inside the Emperor Furnace. He was extremely arrogant and would not submit even if he was being refined. If not for the fact that esteemed Ling Dong had been suppressing him and he was trapped by the 8 drops of poison, he wouldn't have given up so easily. However, at this moment, the pressure coming from Wang Lin's body caused Zhou Jin's face to turn pale, and panic appeared in his mind. The pressure unexpectedly caused the 8 drops of poison around him to loosen, and the 20 ancient leaves to weaken. The moment this happened, Zhou Jin's body flickered, and he rushed out from the Emperor Furnace he was trapped in. He rushed out from the star between Wang Lin's eyebrows. The moment he appeared, the shocking pressure from Wang Lin's body landed on him. This caused his expression to change once more, then he subconsciously took a few steps back. Monstrous fear appeared in his eyes. This aura caused him to feel fear, caused him to tremble, and caused him to feel like the other party would need just a thought to cause him to disintegrate. Even though he was a nirvana void third-step cultivator, he was but an ant before this pressure. Not even the 5 masters of the ancient star system could make Zhou Jin feel like this. It was as if every living thing in this world had to feel terror and kneel before someone with this tyrannical aura. If you didn't kneel, you would die. The aura continued to accumulate inside Wang Lin's body, but it hadn't erupted it. Though the accumulation had already reached an unimaginable degree, it was extremely domineering. He was like the emperor of the world. Even the heavens would have to lower its head before him. Even the earth would have to worship him. Zhou Jin's body trembled and blood came out from the corner of his mouth before he retreated a few steps. As the pressure decreased, popping sounds came from his legs. It was as if a force was pressuring down on his shoulders, forcing him to yield. However, he wasn't Ling Dong and hadn't been refined. As a powerful third-step cultivator and the ancestor of the Heavenly Wolf clan, he didn't kneel to the heavens or worship any god. The greater the pressure, the more he struggled. He let out a roar, and he unexpectedly didn't kneel. He clearly knew that Wang Lin couldn't have obtained such a powerful aura in a short period of time. He also knew that this aura didn't belong to Wang Lin. Wang Lin was just borrowing it. The power was borrowed from this strange chair. This momentum, this pressure could dissipate at any time. However, if he succumbed to it before it dissipated, it would leave a flaw on his Dao heart, and he would never walk out of the shadow of kneeling to someone as a third-step cultivator. Not only would his cultivation stop, but he would very likely become a slave like Ling Dong. While struggling, Zhou Jin's roar echoed inside this quiet palace. His forehead was covered in sweat, and popping sounds were coming from his body. His legs were trembling, but he clenched his teeth. Blood flew out from the corner of his mouth and dripped onto his clothes, dyeing them red. However, just as he was using his all to resist the pressure, the aura inside Wang Lin seemed to have finished accumulating. The 18 stars that were rapidly rotating suddenly stopped. The moment they stopped rotating, the pressure and aura that had gathered inside Wang Lin erupted. It was 10 times, 100 times stronger than before as it swept across the palace. Zhou Jin coughed out blood and his mind seemed to get torn apart. His Dao heart shattered and all his resistance collapsed. At this moment, Wang Lin was like an invincible emperor that possessed an aura that could make the world tremble. The burly man from the Heavenly Wolf clan knelt down on the ground. His body trembled, and like Ling Dong, he didn't dare to raise his head. He yielded. Wang Lin seemed to not have noticed any of this. His gaze seemed to have penetrated Ling Dong and Zhou Jin, and he was looking ahead. In his eyes, the cultivators around the stone platform seemed to have gone back in time to countless years ago. Slaughter the world. What moved wasn't the long-dead cultivators around the platform, but Wang Lin's mind. Scenes buried in time appeared in his eyes. An umbrella was propped up in the scene. There was a middle-aged scribe under the umbrella. He was silently looking at the countless cultivators rushing forward. He was also looking at the existence on the throne and pointing with his left hand. The end of the month is here. Wishing for the like button for the video. Brothers, do you still have likes for the video? You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter 1469. Inheritance. 1. This finger caused the world to tremble. In Wang Lin's eyes, the world around the platform trembled. The tens of thousands of cultivators all rushed forward like crazy toward the stone platform. There were more than 10 times more cultivators behind these tens of thousands of cultivators. They all roared as they charged forward as if they weren't afraid of death. Even further away, the large war chariots rumbled loudly and slowly approached. They began to shine, and rays of destructive light were shot out. Just at this moment, a giant rift seemed to be ripped open above the palace. Nearly 100 members of the 3 ancient order clans that were all tens of thousands of feet tall walked out. It was as if the world was about to collapse, and their roars overshadowed the roars of the cultivators. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, nearly 100 members of the 3 ancient order clans appeared. Spells, the power of the bodies, treasures, and various attacks immediately began wreaking havoc. They began fighting hundreds of thousands of cultivators with just 100 members. All of this looked extremely real, as if Wang Lin had walked through time and appeared in the battlefield. He calmly sat there and watched everything with a cold gaze, just like the person that had sat here in the past. A sense of confidence and a domineering aura continued to gather and erupt from his body. At this moment, Wang Lin seemed to have turned into another person. The world rumbled and 8 giants that pierced the heavens came out of the rift. Their appearance caused the situation to turn chaotic. These 8 giants had powerful physical bodies. Often, a wave of their arms would release a powerful force that caused cultivators to retreat while coughing up blood, and some simply died. However, just as the 8 giants appeared, the cultivator holding the umbrella muttered something. The world began to distort and turned into the surface of a mirror. Roars came from the mirror, and then 8 dragons tens of thousands of feet long rushed out. They all faced the platform with ferocious expressions and let out shocking roars. It looked like they were going to break open all obstacles and devour the stone platform. An inexplicable feeling appeared. It might have been that the scene before Wang Lin looked too real, or the power he had borrowed was fusing into his body. Wang Lin seemed to have turned into the man who was sitting here during that battle. He slowly raised his arm and clenched his fist. Then he threw a punch at the void ahead. God tremble, army formation. When the punch flew out, the illusory picture inside the world trembled. Inside the scene, the thousands of cultivators before the throne all trembled. Popping sounds echoed, and these thousands of cultivators all coughed out blood. A strange distortion formed around them, and their bodies were being pulled by the distortion. They unexpectedly all lined up neatly in 4 columns. This wasn't the only location like this. In the 8 directions around the platform, the 10,000 cultivators in front all coughed out blood and lined up in this strange formation. Death aura filled the area. All the cultivators that had lined up had their cultivation, origin souls, and all traces of life shattered. Wang Lin's fist stopped in the air and slowly loosened to a palm as he withdrew his arm. Then he casually waved his hand. Demon spell, wind and fire mountain. As he waved his hand, a powerful fire began to burn above the heads of the cultivators that were lined up. This fire was green, and large amounts of smoke began to gather. With a wave of his hand, the smoke pierced through the hundreds of thousands of cultivators that had rushed forward. The smoke pierced through them and formed 8 mountains of smoke. The moment the smoke mountains appeared, a powerful suction force came from them. This suction force was irresistible, and it pulled in all the surrounding hundreds of thousands cultivators. No matter how much they resisted, they couldn't break free from the suction force. In a flash, mournful screams echoed, and the hundreds of thousands cultivators were devoured by the 8 smoke mountains. After the smoke dissipated, the 8 smoke mountains became 8 corpse mountains. After a punch and a wave, Wang Lin's right hand stopped in the air. Then his index finger extended and pointed forward. Devil Dao, life and death reverse. Strange words came from Wang Lin's mouth. After he pointed, the giant chariots behind the hundreds of thousands of cultivators trembled, and a ripple began to spread across chariots. As the ripples spread, all the life force inside the chariots began to turn into death. Soon, they all stopped moving and just stood there. As the ripples spread, the 8 giant dragons that were charging at the platform trembled. They couldn't resist this devil Dao at all, and all the life force in their bodies turned into death aura. The reversal of life and death, the transformation from the living to the dead, was completed in an instant. The 8 giant dragons maintained the posture of when they were alive. They floated motionlessly in the air. Not only them, but all the cultivators who had been touched by the ripples suffered the same fate. Their life force had turned into death aura, and then they immediately died. God, demon, devil, ancient Dao, no celestials, Wang Lin muttered as his hand turned into a palm and gently pushed forward. The ancient stars between his eyebrows started rotating rapidly, and then suddenly turned to 9 stars from 6 stars. The 12 stars inside his eyes also suddenly increased to 18 stars. 9-star ancient god, 9-star ancient demon, 9-star ancient devil. The power of the 3 clans seemed to fuse to form the power of the ancient order. This power flowed into Wang Lin's right hand as he pushed forward. A giant shadow suddenly appeared before Wang Lin. This shadow only had a head, but just the head was as large as the world. It gave off an ancient aura as old as the heavens itself. However, it was slightly blurry, making it impossible to see what it looked like. After the head appeared, it opened its mouth and blew out gusts of wind. This wind rushed ahead and swept past all the dead cultivators. They all stiffened and showed signs of turning to stone. Just at this moment, the middle-aged scribe holding the umbrella on the opposite side of the platform let out a sigh. His right hand opened the umbrella, and 7 colored light came from inside it. At this moment, the umbrella was like a sun, with the 7 colored light shining brightly. The power of the ancient order and the 7 colored light collided, causing the world to tremble. Just at this moment, a monstrous roar echoed. Behind the person holding the umbrella, the cultivator with his eyes closed suddenly had a big ball with 9 seals in his hand. The bow was made of bone, with engravings of a moon and stars. The bowstring was made of an unknown material that gave off an ancient aura. At this moment, it was pulled by the cultivator in black, making it look like a full moon. A long dark arrow with 9 feathers suddenly appeared in the bow. This arrow was covered in damage marks, as if it had experienced countless battles and killed countless cultivators. There was a shocking amount of killing intent gathered on the arrow. He drew the bow with his eyes closed and let go. In a flash, the arrow flew out with an indescribable momentum. The world trembled, and a giant crack appeared on the ground following the arrow. The arrow broke through everything blocking its path. A thunderous rumble echoed as the arrow shot forward. This replaced all other sounds as the arrow pierced the void. It penetrated the umbrella, the destructive aura from the shadow, and penetrated everything in this world. It was as if not even the heavens, not even time, nothing in the world could stop it. Thunderous rumble caused a powerful shock wave. This arrow pierced through the ancient order aura and stabbed into the left eye of the huge head. It entered the head through the hole of the left eye and pierced through to the other side. One could clearly see a bloody left eye at the tip of the arrow as it pierced through the palace, the void, and disappeared without a trace. Intense pain appeared in Wang Lin's mind like a tide. This pain seemed to want to tear his memories from himself. Blood flowed down from his left eye, and the 9 ancient demon stars he borrowed suddenly collapsed. Dao shot, Li Guang shot my left eye. My left eye contained half my memories and my thoughts of my hometown. The voice that he had heard before appeared in Wang Lin's mind once more. At this moment, under this intense pain, he seemed to have forgotten himself and completely became ancient order Yimo. "Give me back my left eye," he roared. As his roar echoed, the aura from the head rushed forward. The umbrella collapsed, and the aura smashed into the man holding the 7-colored umbrella. The man revealed a bitter smile as his body gradually lost all vitality and turned to stone. Even the umbrella was petrified. As the aura swept past the middle-aged man and landed on the archer behind him, the archer pondered silently and closed his eyes. His body instantly turned to stone, and he maintained his pose from when he was alive. "I have finished our agreement." When he closed his eyes, he said this first sentence and also his last. The end of the month, wishing for the like button for the video. Don't hold back, it's expiring. Chapter 1470, Inheritance 2. While Wang Lin was sitting on the throne on the stone platform, Zhou Jin and Ling Dong were still kneeling before him. They were aware that the pressure inside Wang Lin had reached a terrifying degree. This pressure made them feel terror and shock, so they didn't dare to raise their heads. They also couldn't see the red blood flowing out from Wang Lin's left eye. The inheritance had begun the moment Wang Lin sat down on the chair. Time slowly passed as Wang Lin sat on the throne motionlessly. The images in his head continued playing and different scenes flashed by. After an unknown amount of time had passed, the surrounding cultivators had all become silent. Only the fire above their heads continued to burn, shrouding the area with a sense of illusion. On this day, a person wearing a 7-colored Taoist robe appeared out of nowhere in this quiet palace. He stood before the middle-aged man who had opened the umbrella and silently pondered for a long time. "I've taken in 3 children in my life. You read the one that was the most." The 7-colored cultivator let out a sigh and walked past the middle-aged man. He stood before Li Guang, who looked like he was still holding the bow. "I'll keep my promise with you after the heavenly Tao has grown. I'll send this bow back to your sect." The 7-colored cultivator took the shocking bow from Li Guang. However, just at this moment, his expression changed, and he stepped forward without thinking. He was very fast and moved at this limit. "Ancient Tao, no less eels." As Wang Lin watched this, these words suddenly echoed in his mind. At this moment, an indescribable change took place inside Wang Lin. Just this sentence, these 4 simple words caused the 7-colored cultivator's expression to change once more. "You were not dead." 7-colored light surrounded him, and he coughed out blood while retreating. With one step, he disappeared without a trace. The image inside Wang Lin's mind dissipated. His body trembled and the confusion inside his eyes disappeared as he gradually became sober. The moment he became sober, the borrowed power inside him surged and seemed to want to rush back into the throne. At this instant, a powerful rejection force came from the throne as if it wanted to kick Wang Lin off. It was as if the throne had its own will that made it so no one except that person from the past could sit on it. Wang Lin had sat down before the will had awakened. However, when the ancient demon and ancient devil auras entered Wang Lin's body to create those scenes, and then when the scenes collapsed, it was awakened. After this will awakened, this rejection force suddenly appeared. Not only was it going to kick Wang Lin off, it wanted to take back the aura Wang Lin had absorbed. This will wouldn't allow Wang Lin to possess this aura. Wang Lin's expression became gloomy. He didn't have time to think, but he subconsciously wanted to keep this aura inside his body. This created a fierce conflict between him and the throne. Wang Lin let out a roar and the veins on his face swelled while facing this rejection force. He could not allow himself be kicked off. He had a feeling that the moment he left the throne, the aura inside him would collapse. If he wanted to keep it, he would have to stay on the throne. Time slowly passed. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. In just 3 breaths, Wang Lin felt his body reach its limit. His origin energy activated like crazy to dispel the rejection force while frantically absorbing that aura. Because he had awakened, the number of ancient god stars between his eyebrows became 6 again. However, as he absorbed the aura, the 7th star vaguely appeared. Ancient devil power gathered in his right eye and showed signs of devil stars forming. 4th breath. After Wang Lin resisted for 4 breaths, his mind rumbled and the 9 maps in his mind collapsed. Below the collapse maps, he saw a boundless area that was formed by 6 submaps. There was another world under these 6 maps. This world was formed by 3 maps. This ancient tomb did not just contain 1 layer but 3 floors. Everyone who had entered the tomb was merely on the 1st floor. The entrance to the 2nd floor was the oval-shaped light above the throne behind Wang Lin. If you consider the 1st layer of the ancient tomb as a formation, then the location of this throne was the heart and center of the formation. Also at this moment, Wang Lin saw that there were countless mournful souls in the 2nd layer. What terrified him was that he saw souls giving off powerful pressure that could match that of Tao Master Blue Dream. There was also a blurry place deep within the 2nd layer. An indescribable and shocking aura seemed to be sleeping deep in the 2nd layer. Once you entered the 2nd layer, that powerful existence would awaken. Even someone with Tao Master Blue Dream's power would find it difficult to survive. This was just the 2nd layer. There was still the 3rd layer. Wang Lin sat on the throne as if he was sitting at the center of the formation. His divine sense fused with the formation as he passed through the 2nd layer and entered the 3rd layer. However, at this moment, a roar that seemed to have been suppressed for countless years echoed. Wang Lin's divine sense immediately collapsed before this roar. Although his divine sense had collapsed, he still saw that at the center of the 3 maps, there was a giant heart in the 3rd layer. That heart was beating and gave off the aura of inheritance. Wang Lin felt that as long as he could touch that heart, he could obtain the full ancient order inheritance. The aura that had rushed into his body came from the heart. Through some mysterious method, the aura from the heart had passed through the chair and entered his body. At this moment, this aura rapidly left his body. If it were taken, Wang Lin would have to break through the 2nd and 3rd layers to obtain the inheritance. Forget him. No one in the ancient tomb could do it. Various thoughts flashed through Wang Lin's mind. Madness appeared in his mind, and he made up his mind. He could not let the aura dissipate. The 5th breath. Wang Lin's eyes became red, and his expression became ferocious. The 7th star absorbed the borrowed aura like crazy. It has entered my body, so now it is mine. How can I let it come and go as it wishes? When Wang Lin awakened, the pressure on Zhou Jin and Ling Dong seemed to quickly dissipate, allowing them to have the courage to rise up. Zhou Jin was about to lift his head. Just at this moment, Wang Lin didn't hesitate to raise his right hand and borrow the aura that hadn't yet dissipated to form a bolt of thunder that landed between Zhou Jin's eyebrows. Zhou Jin coughed out blood and was thrown back. Then a rune appeared between his eyebrows, the rune of an ancient slave. The 2 of you, use all your Joss flames to seal this throne and help me complete the inheritance. Quickly, Wang Lin quickly said. Then he sealed off his body to prevent the aura from escaping. He also fixed himself onto the chair. 6th breath. Ling Dong didn't hesitate and arrived on the left side of Wang Lin. His hands formed a seal and his right hand pressed down on the throne. He began summoning the Joss flames inside his body, and his left hand raised up to press down on Wang Lin to help Wang Lin offset the rejection force. Esteemed Ling Dong's clothes started moving without any wind, and a powerful force came from Wang Lin's body. His expression immediately changed, and he clenched his teeth as he endured. The heavenly wolf clan's Zhou had been knocked by Wang Lin's finger. His face was pale and his eyes revealed struggle. However, the more he struggled, the faster the ancient slave rune flickered between his eyebrows. Seventh breath. Zhou Jin's face was pale as he silently arrived on Wang Lin's right. He followed the order and summoned all the Joss flames he had into the seat. Like Ling Dong, his right hand pressed down on Wang Lin and to help him share the burden of this powerful rejection force. His mind and body trembled. He felt a powerful force hit him. Then he let out a roar and his right foot took a step back. It was as if he had taken root and persisted against this force. Wang Lin closed his eyes and continued to seal his body to prevent the aura from leaving his body. However, his left eye felt pain. Since the 9 ancient demon stars had collapsed, there was no ancient demon aura left. He was currently trapping the ancient devil aura in his right eye and the ancient god aura between his eyebrows. 8th breath. The rejection force from the throne had reached the level of shaking the heavens. Popping sounds came from Wang Lin's body and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, but his expression was extremely ferocious. "I don't believe it," Wang Lin roared as his ancient god power filled his body and collided with the rejection force from the throne. Blood came out of the corner of Ling Dong's mouth. His body trembled, and his face was deathly pale. Zhou Jin also clenched his teeth as blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. However, he remained still and helped Ling Dong share the powerful force coming from the throne. 9th breath. Wang Lin's body continued to tremble and sweat filled his forehead. Although he had 2 third-step cultivators helping him, the rejection from the throne had become even more intense, as if it was going to tear him into pieces. The ancient demon and ancient god auras inside him raged like the waves, as if they wanted to rush out from his body and return to the throne. Once they returned, Wang Lin would have to obtain the inheritance through the normal method. He would need to go through the 2nd and 3rd layers to enter the heart of the tomb. He would have to experience countless dangers to obtain it. 10th breath. Wang Lin coughed out blood. The longer he persisted, the more he absorbed and the more it benefited him. The 7th star that had just appeared rotated rapidly. It became more and more clear and was about to take shape. However, just at this moment, a huge change occurred. "This god has finally found this place," thought my intuition. "This is the place. That damn 2C dreamed of coming here." A laugh echoed inside the empty palace. A distortion appeared in the void and Tuosen's body was about to rush in from the distortion. As he charged in, the distortion was pulled into a convex shape, and a thunderous rumble echoed as he punched the distortion. A grand chapter. Not caring to read 4,500 words, can bear to split it into 2 chapters. As the donkey dies a martyr, tears flow wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1471. Inheritance 3. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with blood as he stared at the illusory net that had appeared in the void. He stared at Tuosen, who was attacking the net to break into the palace. His eyes were like lightning as he looked at the illusory net. Time slowly passed as he struggled against the rejection force. 11th breath, 12th breath, 13th breath. Although these breaths seemed to have passed by in an instant, they felt like years to Wang Lin. It was as if 300 years had slowly passed by. The powerful rejection force was like a storm, and it increased in power with every breath as if it wanted Wang Lin's body to collapse. Blood was coming out of the corner of Wang Lin's mouth. The veins on his face were swollen, and his heart was pounding as if it was following some kind of rhythm. His roar that had almost become a hiss had come from Wang Lin's mouth and nose. His origin energy was operating at its limit inside his body. Even his ancient god body felt that pain was unbearable. It was as if his meridians would explode if he kept resisting. Even his body would explode into a pile of meat. As he roared, Wang Lin only had one idea in his mind. He couldn't let the aura inside his body leave. He must not. No matter what, he had to go all out. Once he gave up and was kicked off the chair, he would have given up this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Wang Lin wouldn't allow this to happen. The 6 ancient god stars were rotating rapidly as the 7th star slowly rotated and became more and more clear. A bright light came from the 7th star, making it even more dazzling. There was a devilish energy vortex rotating inside his right eye, and an ancient devil star was flashing. During the 13th breath, a vague ancient devil star appeared in his right eye. This was the first ancient devil star. Although it was vague, it was the proof of Wang Lin resisting the rejection force from the throne. However, the price of the 13th breath was too big. Popping sounds echoed, and the flesh below his waist couldn't stand the force anymore. Large amounts of blood covered the throne, and then the flesh below his waist exploded, revealing his white bones. This pain was monstrous. It was not something an ordinary person could withstand. Just thinking about it would make you shiver. What does this pain count as? This is nothing compared to the first trial. Wang Lin clenched his teeth and sneered. At this moment, Tuo Senna's roar from the illusory net became even more clear. Like a sword attempting to pierce through, it got closer and closer to the platform Wang Lin was on. As Wang Lin sat there, he could clearly see Tuo Sen inside the net. Tuo Sen's expression was ferocious as he let out a shocking roar. His 8 stars rotated rapidly and gave off an ancient aura. His punches were like a storm, and every time one landed, it caused the illusory net to tremble violently, as if it could collapse at any moment. 14th breath, 15th breath. After 2 breaths, the rejection force from the throne increased several fold. It was like a pair of ruthless hands that wanted to kick Wang Lin off the throne. 16. The moment the 16th breath arrived, the rejection force reached a peak. There was a rebound force. Then the rejection force disappeared for a moment and became a suction force. The rejection force below Wang Lin dissipated, but he didn't relax, and instead his pupils shrank. This was the calm before the storm. After the calm, the world would be destroyed. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to roar, Ling Dong, Zhou Jin, resist with full power. The suction force from the throne didn't just pull in Wang Lin. It also pulled from the beating heart in the 3rd layer through a mysterious method. The powerful aura from the heart pierced the void and rushed into the throne. The moment the aura arrived, the suction force from the throne dissipated, and a rejection force 100 times stronger erupted. Although this rejection force lasted only an instant, it destroyed the entire lower half of Wang Lin's body. Thunderous rumbles echoed as Wang Lin's legs collapsed. At the same time, esteemed Ling Dong, who was helping Wang Lin resist this force, trembled. His left hand shattered as well. He was also hit by this powerful force and was forced to retreat several steps. His head rose up and he coughed out blood before he retreated even more. Although he was forced to retreat, he still strictly obeyed Wang Lin's command. His hand formed a seal and a giant black statue appeared. This black statue was the Lingdong clan's devil god. It let out a roar as its arms loosened and pressed down on Wang Lin through the void. Zhou Jin's face also turned pale and cracking sounds came from his right hand. His bones turned into powder and his right arm collapsed. He took a few steps back while coughing out blood, and then he let out a roar, causing a blood-red wolf phantom to appear behind him. The blood wolf let out a roar and jumped over Zhou Jin to help withstand the force from Wang Lin's body. Ling Dong and Zhou Jin withstood 70% of that explosive force, so Wang Lin only had to withstand 30%. If not for those two, it would have been very difficult for Wang Lin to last 16 breaths. Although the throne had erupted with 100 times the rejection force, the aura of inheritance had also increased 100-fold. Some of that aura had rushed into his body during the collision. Wang Lin's body rumbled as this aura rushed in. The 7th star that was about to form flashed violently. It was rapidly moving toward being complete. It looked like it only needed 3 more breaths to completely appear. A 7-star ancient god was about to appear. Tuo Senna's roar became even more clear and the illusory net seemed to be getting pulled to its limit. It came closer and closer to Wang Lin. In a flash, it was less than 10,000 feet away. Tuo Senna's body continued to expand and became tens of thousands of feet long as he continued to slam into it. The illusory net could no longer withstand it, and fine cracks appeared all over it. "Open for this god! Open! Open!" Tuo Sen did not notice Wang Lin's existence as he roared. There was a sense of excitement in his ferocious expression. "Damned ancient order, this inheritance belongs to this god. In this star system, no one else beside this god is qualified to take it. Yet you make all these obstacles. Have you become dumb?" Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot. At this moment, his lower half had collapsed and only his upper half remained. However, Wang Lin didn't care. As long as he could keep the aura in his body and become a 7-star ancient god, all of this could be restored. The recovery ability of a star ancient god was far stronger than a star ancient god. 17th breath. The 100 times rejection force suddenly increased. Although it was only a few fold, it was on the basis of 100 times the previous rejection force. Even if Tuo Sen had been sitting here, his body would collapse and he would die. This powerful rejection force directly rushed out. Wang Lin's body trembled, and he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. His expression became ferocious, as if he had gone mad. Since ancient Order Yimo could sit on this throne, then why can Wang Lin, sit here? I will sit here. I want to see you stop me. The rejection force was like a tsunami rushing into Wang Lin's body, and it also rushed into the phantoms Ling Dong and Zhou Jin had summoned. The unimaginable force rushed into the statues, causing them to tremble before collapsing into countless fragments. Ling Dong coughed out blood and was thrown off the platform. Zhou Jin's blood wolf let out a miserable howl before it vanished. Popping sounds came from Zhou Jin's body as he was thrown back several thousand feet into the ground. The two of them had helped Wang Lin resist a majority of the rejection force, but they could no longer help him for the time being. Now Wang Lin had to rely on himself. 18th breath. Although these breaths sound slow, all of this happened in an instant. Just as Zhou Jin and Ling Dong were knocked back, the terrifying 18th breath arrived. At this moment, the roar from Tuo Sen echoed violently. The giant illusory net could no longer bear it and began to collapse. Tuo Sen was about to rush out, and he was less than 5,000 feet from Wang Lin. The 17th breath was when the rejection force had increased 100 times, and now it increased even more, making it so Wang Lin could no longer resist. The 7th star rotated rapidly. A majority of it had formed. He only needed 2 more breaths for it to fully appear. Just at this instant, Wang Lin's right hand suddenly rose up and reached out. A petrified ancient god body was grabbed by Wang Lin, and he threw it toward the illusory net that Tuo Sen was breaking through. Thunderous rumbles echoed. As the rejection force erupted from Wang Lin's body, the petrified ancient god body smashed into the illusory net. It smashed into Tuo Sen's giant head as he rushed out with indescribable excitement. At the same time as Wang Lin threw the statue, the unimaginable rejection force had rushed into his right arm and entered the petrified ancient god body that was thrown at Tuo Sen. This rejection force was so powerful that Wang Lin's right arm could no longer withstand it. Right after he threw the petrified ancient god body, his right arm collapsed. However, the rejection force had found an outlet, and the petrified ancient god body flew like an arrow and smashed into Tuo Sen's head. A mournful scream came from Tuo Sen's mouth. Then a thunderous rumble came from Tuo Sen's body, and he coughed out blood as he was knocked back. Wang Lin! Big brothers and little sisters, do you still have likes for the video? Wishing for the like button for the video to help. Chapter 1472. Star Ancient God! Tuo Sen was unable to see anything inside the palace. He had been channeling all his effort to force his way inside, but just as he entered, his vision went black from the giant ancient god body that was thrown at him. All of this happened too fast, so he couldn't T-dodge. He could only lift his right hand and resist it with the power of his 8-star ancient god body. However, he didn't expect the power from it to be so terrifying. That powerful force entered Tuo Sen's body like crazy. The bones inside his right arm unexpectedly broke and he was knocked back. As he coughed out blood, he also saw Wang Lin sitting on the throne above the stone platform. With the help of Tuo Sen, Wang Lin had used his right arm as the price to pass the 19th breath. The 7th star between his eyebrows had clearly taken shape and was reaching the point of completion. The terrifying 19th breath descended. At the same time, Tuo Sen clearly saw the 7th star that was forming between Wang Lin's eyebrows. No one knew Wang Lin's ancient god body better than Tuo Sen. He immediately understood everything after seeing this. He was aware that Wang Lin was going through the inheritance that originally belonged to him. You took my memory inheritance and now you are going to steal my ancient order inheritance. Tuo Sen's eyes were bloodshot as he charged forward like a madman, despite his injuries as the 19th breath descended. He moved extremely fast and immediately closed in on the net he had broken. He was about to enter. When the 19th breath arrived, the rejection force was impossible to calculate. Wang Lin's waist collapsed and it rapidly spread across his body. In just a moment, his chest exploded. His remaining left arm also released popping sounds. Just as it was about to collapse, Wang Lin revealed a crazed look and pointed to between his eyebrows, causing 20 ancient leaves to appear. With a wave of his left hand, the 20 ancient leaves charged forward. After finishing this last action, his left arm shattered. Seal! Ling Dong! Zhou Jin, stop this person! The 20 ancient leaves moved extremely fast and sealed the net the moment Tuo Sen was about to charge through. Tuo Sen collided with the 20 ancient leaves. However, Tuo Sen was extremely powerful, so much so that not even the realm sealing formation could stop him. Just as the ancient leaves arrived, Tuo Sen threw out a punch. Thunderous rumbles echoed and 3 of the 20 ancient leaves immediately collapsed. Tuo Sen's right hand reached through the opening created by the 3 collapsed leaves and was about to tear them apart. Ling Dong clenched his teeth and charged forward, ignoring his injuries. His hand formed seals and a monstrous purple sea rushed out containing countless Joss flame souls. The mighty wave rushed forward. Zhou Jin also jumped into the air and roared as he waved his hand. Wolf herd, worship the moon. As he spoke, illusory wolves appeared around Zhou Jin. In a flash, hundreds of thousands of wolves appeared, and they filled the world. A round blood moon appeared above the palace. These hundreds of thousands of wolves let out howls and turned into smoke that fused with the blood moon. After the blood moon absorbed the hundreds of thousands of wolves, it descended toward Tuo Sen's fist. 2 early-stage Nirvana Void cultivators were using their most powerful spells against Tuo Sen. Thunderous rumbles echoed. The moment Ling Dong's purple sea descended, the blood moon smashed down. Tuo Sen's right hand had to retreat. However, as his right hand withdrew, Tuo Sen's head broke out from the gap. He let out a roar that shook the entire palace. The roar of the ancient god. His roar was like thunder, and it spread across the palace. This roar was deafening, containing the power of an ancient god. It created a powerful storm that swept across the palace with a tyrannical aura. Ling Dong coughed out blood, and the purple sea collapsed. He fell to the ground and no longer had any strength to fight. Zhou Jin's blood moon distorted and miserable screams echoed from it. The wolves that were absorbed collapsed one by one, and soon the blood moon itself also disintegrated. Zhou Jin's face was pale, and his chest caved in. He coughed out blood as he was knocked back and smashed into the ground. The storm formed by the roar of the ancient gods swept across the palace. The bodies of the countless cultivators collapsed. Even the 8 corpse mountains turned to dust, and even the 8 dragons disintegrated. Only the corpses of the 3 ancient order clan members didn't collapse from this roar. Tuo Sen went crazy. He let out a fierce roar. Wang Lin had stolen his memory inheritance, and now Wang Lin was going to steal his ancient order inheritance, so how could he not be crazy? Even at the expense of being seriously injured, he was going to steal back what he thought belonged to him. Now that Ling Dong and Zhou Jin could no longer block him, his arm reached into the gap left by the ancient leaves. He tore at them and was about to rush in. All of this happened extremely fast. Wang Lin's body continued to collapse as the powerful rejection force from the 19th breath rushed into his body. His chest and left arm dissipated into the air. Only a head floated in the chair, and only a lingering will kept the head connected to the throne. However, the collapse wasn't over. The 19th breath became extremely slow, seeming like it wouldn't end. Cracks appeared on Wang Lin's chin before it dissipated into nothing. His lips, nose, and eyes all dissipated into the void. Only the 6 stars between his eyebrows remained, rotating rapidly. The collapse continued and was about to reach Wang Lin's ancient god stars that held his origin soul. The 7th star suddenly gave off a dazzling light. Then a mighty flow of ancient god power erupted from the 7th star like a tidal wave. As it erupted, the 7th star instantly went from illusory to solid. It crossed the line, and now was complete. When the 7th star appeared, the 7 stars slowed down and slowly rotated. The 7 stars turned one circle, an ancient god power countless times stronger than when he only had 6 stars erupted. The power moved down from the 7 stars toward Wang Lin's head. His eyebrows, closed eyes, and lips appeared in a flash. A complete head appeared, making it seem as if Wang Lin was reborn. Then the 7 stars rotated a second full circle. Wang Lin's neck, chest, abdomen, arms, and his entire upper body appeared. His bones appeared first, followed by his flesh and innards. Every single strand of muscle contained a large amount of ancient god power. Every inch of bone contained powerful ancient god aura. When Wang Lin's ancient god stars finished the third circle, his lower body suddenly appeared. Wang Lin's new ancient god body was not thousands of feet tall, but 10,000 feet tall. 10,000-foot ancient god. 7-star ancient god. 10,000-foot royal ancient god. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly opened. His body still remained seated on the throne. He didn't move an inch. The 7 stars rotated slowly and then rapidly sped up as ancient god power filled his body. Wang Lin felt as if he could blow up a planet with just one punch. Also at this moment, the most powerful blow from the Black Tortoise clan that the second-generation Vermilion Bird taught him appeared in his mind. The understanding of how to use force filled his mind. Scenes of avatars from the inheritance came from the throne. These spells were like a fragmented divine sense, and they became his own memories. At the same time, because Wang Lin had lasted 18 breaths, his divine sense formed an inexplicable connection with the throne. This connection was extremely strange. Not even Wang Lin could figure it out in a short period of time, and he didn't have the time to ponder. It was because of this connection that this throne seemed to turn into a platform. As Wang Lin sat there, the entire map of the 3 layers of the ancient tomb appeared in his mind. His divine sense was magnified tens of thousands of fold by the throne through a mysterious method. He could feel a will inside this tomb. It was the remains of ancient order Yimou's will. Wang Lin's divine sense was magnified and then fused with this will. His divine sense suddenly rushed out from the palace. The first who felt it was Tuo Sen. His roar stopped and his body trembled. Terror appeared in his eyes. In the 9th map, the charming woman had a gloomy expression as she charged forward. The restriction she had been using to control Tuo Sen had loosened, and this made her feel very uneasy. I didn't expect that small ancient god to get there first. However, I have Tuo Sen, so I still have a chance. However, how did this restriction loosen? She frowned as she pondered while flying forward. The woman's body suddenly stopped and crazed wind seemed to come from the spatial rifts around her. She suddenly looked up and her expression changed. She clearly felt the divine sense that could make her tremble sweep by her. This divine sense was extremely powerful, causing her mind to rumble. She was startled for a long time before she recovered. Terror filled her eyes. This is whose divine sense is this? Could it be that ancient order Yimou wasn't killed by the celestial sovereign? Just in time to keep the manuscript, tonight's update might not be timely. If there's no second watch tonight, Leo will supplement tomorrow. However, Leo will try his best to finish today. Chapter 1473. The Power of a Roar. In the 9th map, Devil Master 9 Heaven's avatar was also rapidly moving through the tomb. Although Wang Lin had taken the first step, he wasn't worried, as his original body was already in the tomb. Steal. Even if you steal everything, you can leave the ancient tomb alive. There was a flash of coldness in Devil Master 9 Heaven's eyes. However, at this moment a roar came from the void and the turbulence around him scattered. In a flash, a powerful divine sense swept through his body and went far away. However, this sweep caused him to tremble. His mind trembled and his expression changed greatly. When the divine sense swept by, he had the illusion that all his secrets had been seen through by that divine sense. Terrified, he stopped in the air. His eyes were filled with shock. At that moment, his scalp went numb, and he almost lost his wits. He had only experienced this feeling before he became a third-step cultivator. Whose divine sense is that? Devil Master 9 Heaven stared at the void ahead. For the first time, fear appeared in his heart. He and the woman in pink weren't the only ones like this. All the surviving cultivators in the tomb felt this monstrous divine sense sweep by. They were all terrified. This divine sense was filled with a domineering aura, as if the Emperor of the Heavens was looking down from above. In the 7th map, there was an old man wearing linen cloth. His lips were sealed by 3 needles, and his old face revealed a cruel expression. Great Desolation, who had entered with his original body, rushed through the ancient tomb. His arcane void cultivation erupted as he rushed through the tomb. No one could stop him. He quickly moved forward and crossed a map with just 5 steps. However, he suddenly stopped and his eyes lit up. Wang Lin's divine sense that had fused with the ancient tomb swept by. Great Desolation's hand formed a seal and reached out as if he wanted to grab the divine sense that terrified him. However, just as his right hand reached out and touched the divine sense, he felt a powerful force from it. A thunderous rumble echoed as Great Desolation was forced to retreat. His expression immediately changed, and his mind trembled. "Who are you, Your Excellency?" No one answered him, and the divine sense continued to spread out. As it spread out, it crossed the 7th map, 6th map, 5th map, and the 2nd map. Devil Master 9 Heaven's original body and Miao Yin were calmly moving forward. They crossed immeasurable distances with just one step. However, Devil Master 9 Heaven's expression suddenly changed. This old man's avatar has found before he could finish speaking, he suddenly stopped. The divine sense that his avatar felt suddenly swept by them. Miao Yin's pupils shrank. He unexpectedly felt his mind get affected by this divine sense, which shocked him. He looked at Devil Master 9 Heavens. Devil Master 9 Heavens' expression was gloomy, and there was also shock in his eyes. Very strong. Very, very strong. The third celestial imperial concubine had given up on moving further into the tomb. She was quickly flying back to the first map. She had given up any chance of finding a fortune here and had chosen to leave. She had a very bad feeling that if she didn't leave now, she would be kept here forever. Just as she was rushing forward, the divine sense swept by. Just as it swept past her, the divine sense stopped. The woman in white trembled and sweat filled her forehead. She stopped and actually didn't dare to move an inch. Her heart pounded as the divine sense surrounded her body. It was as if everything about her was being seen through. Aside from fear, she felt a sense of exasperation that she quickly suppressed. After a long time, the divine sense slowly left her body and continued to spread forward. The woman in white didn't relax until the divine sense left and her face was slightly red. After a moment, she looked at where the divine sense went with a complicated gaze. Wang Lin was sitting in the palace, and his divine sense was spreading out outside of his control. He saw all the ancient star system cultivators inside the ancient tomb. He saw the charming woman and Devil Master 9 Heaven's avatar. As his divine sense spread out, he saw Great Desolation, Devil Master 9 Heaven's original body, Miao Yin, and finally the woman in white. As his divine sense spread out even more, he saw the spatial rift that led to the ancient star system. Wang Lin's divine sense finally stopped by the spatial rift. At this moment, due to being fused with the ancient tomb, Wang Lin saw some things he couldn't see with his current cultivation level. An existence that not even people like Tao Master Miao Yin could see. This spatial rift was being kept open by a great spell, so it couldn't close outside the spatial rift. In the ancient star system, the huge palm print still hadn't dissipated. The black-robed figure under the palm print was still there, floating outside the spatial rift. However, just as Wang Lin's divine sense closed in on the spatial rift, the man in the black robe suddenly raised his head. His eyes shined brightly. His gaze seemed to penetrate the spatial rift, and he saw Wang Lin's divine sense. Silence. The two of them silently looked at each other through the spatial rift. "Who are you?" the two of them said at almost the same time. The difference was that the man in the black robe had spoken with his mouth. His voice was ancient and hoarse, as if two things were being rubbed together. Wang Lin's voice had come through the fluctuation of divine sense and the will of the ancient tomb. It also gave people the feeling that it was ancient. The man in the black robe slowly said, "This old man is the ancient star system's sovereign." Inside the spatial rift, Wang Lin silently pondered. No response came out for a long time. The man in the black robe frowned and slowly said, "No matter who you are, please let them out. This old man will thank you later." Fishing for the moon in the well, a very good spell. A moment later, Wang Lin's words extended out from the rift and entered the black-robed man's mind. The black-robed man was shocked and didn't hesitate to wave his right hand. The giant palm print roared as it smashed down at the spatial rift. However, he was a step too late. Wang Lin had fused with the will of the ancient tomb, so he was the tomb itself. The spatial rift should have closed, but was being kept open by an external force. Now, with Wang Lin's will, the spatial rift rumbled, and the force keeping it open could not withstand the power of the entire tomb along with Yemo's residual will. The spatial craft rapidly shrank. Once it closed, Wang Lin could place a seal on the ancient tomb so that it couldn't be opened for tens of thousands of years. This would make it so that the people who had entered here would have no way of escaping. Destroy 30% of the ancient star system's power. The black-robed man let out a roar and rushed next to the rapidly shrinking spatial rift. He lifted his dried-up hand, and it fused with the descending palm print. The huge palm print seemed to fuse with his right hand and smash down on the spatial rift. At this moment, an extremely hot energy came from his right hand. This heat wasn't fire but light. This was the law of origin. The light was dazzling, and it landed on the spatial rift. It pierced the spatial rift and shot toward Wang Lin's divine sense. The power of the palm was extremely strong. The entire ancient tomb trembled when the light landed on Wang Lin's divine sense that had fused with the ancient tomb. Wang Lin's divine sense was knocked back. The power of this palm was enough to destroy a world. The power of this palm was the limit of this star system. However, how could the will of the ancient tomb and Yimos residual will be destroyed so easily? As the palm pushed through the spatial rift, a roar came from the third layer of the tomb. No one else could hear this roar. Only Wang Lin heard it clearly as he was fused with the will of the tomb. The roar entered Wang Lin's divine sense and caused the eyes of his physical body to shine brightly. As his eyes lit up, the roar that had entered his divine sense seemed to enter his body. A strange fluctuation spread through his body, causing Wang Lin's throat to let out a crazed roar. Roar! The power of the roar caused the world to change colors and shook eternity itself. Storms covered the sky, and Tuo Sen coughed out blood and was knocked back. He used his arm to block before him, but the flesh on half of his body instantly disintegrated, revealing the white bones below. The body of an 8-star royal ancient god had collapsed. The roar came out of Wang Lin's mouth and shook the entire ancient tomb. Devil Master 9 Heaven's avatar collapsed without being able to resist at all. The fourth celestial imperial concubine coughed out blood. Her hand waved the satin that had allowed her to escape the danger from before. This satin was gifted to her by the ancient celestial sovereign. The satin collapsed. The charming woman let out a miserable scream and her body collapsed and her origin soul flew out. She used some unknown method to barely survive after her origin soul had collapsed several times. Great Desolation, Devil Master 9 Heaven's origin soul, and Miao Yin all coughed out blood and their bodies collapsed. Not even arcane void cultivators were qualified to resist this roar. However, as arcane void cultivators, they all had life-saving spells. After surviving this roar, they all took out spare physical bodies that had been refined. Their eyes were filled with monstrous terror, and they didn't dare to continue. They didn't hesitate to retreat and attempt to leave this ancient tomb. The roar echoed and charged at the spatial rift inside the first map. It collided with that palm print. The power of a roar. Reading so much. Besides the golden keyboard is active, I ask everyone to support a bit more, not just words of support. I'm afraid I can't even carry the last 3. Chapter 1474. Proactive. The palm print couldn't resist at all, and collapsed like dried up wood. After the roar broke the palm print, it charged out from the spatial rift. It landed on the black-robed man floating outside the spatial rift. Roar! This is the expression of the black-robed man changed greatly. His body trembled and he coughed out blood, retreating frantically as he did so. However, he only retreated 3 steps before his legs exploded. There was no flesh or blood, only white bones. A large portion of his black robe was torn apart and wrapped around his body. He screamed and quickly retreated. The sovereign, the most mysterious cultivator in the ancient star system, the person who had used Fish the Moon in the well on Wang Lin, fled like a stray dog. The power of a roar. The power of a roar. Back then, he was forced to retreat billions of kilometers out of the inner realm by a roar. This time he was forced to retreat by a roar as well. However, aside from him, no one else knew if this roar was from the same person or not. The spatial rift in the ancient star system rapidly shrank. In the tomb, the woman in white had a pale face as she closed in on the rift. She was shaken by the roar, and although she had managed to keep her body through a special method, she was injured. Seeing the rift shrink, she knew it was too late to leave. You helped me once, so I'll help you once. Just as the woman in white was about to despair, Wang Lin's divine sense echoed in her ears. The woman in white was familiar with this divine sense. It was the divine sense that exasperated her, but after hearing his voice, her expression changed. "It's you." Just as she spoke, the shrinking spatial rift suddenly paused. The woman in white suppressed the shock in her mind. She knew it wasn't the time to ask questions. She charged at the rift and stepped through it in the blink of an eye. When she was next to the spatial rift, she turned around and looked back with her beautiful eyes. She could faintly feel Wang Lin's divine sense. A complicated expression appeared on her face, as she felt that exasperation she felt when the divine sense seemed to see through her everything. She turned around and stepped out of the rift. The moment she left, the rift suddenly shrank and disappeared from the ancient star system. Before Wang Lin's divine sense retreated, he used the will of the tomb to seal it for 100 million years. The sovereign didn't die from the roar. He knew that the woman in white had entered, and if he found out she left, would he become suspicious? If he really becomes suspicious, then I didn't do this for nothing. Inside the palace, Wang Lin's divine sense returned to the throne. Because his divine sense had fused with the tomb, there was no rejection force from the throne. His expression was calm as he sat there. His eyes were like lightning as he looked at the broken illusory net and Tuo Sen, who had been knocked back by that roar. Tuo Sen was in a sorry state. His body was a bloody mess and his white bones could be seen. The remaining flesh was rapidly moving and recovering. This was an extremely rare opportunity. Tuo Sen was seriously injured. If it was anyone else, they would attack without hesitation. But Wang Lin didn't. He was an ancient god, and Tuo Sen was also an ancient god. Ancient gods should have the dignity of the ancient gods. If it was before Wang Lin had obtained his 7th star, he would have attacked without hesitation, but now he wanted to battle with Tuo Sen at full power. There was also a more important reason why he had to do this. Your ancient god stars have shattered many times. Although you may use some unknown method to reach 8 stars again, they are not as good as they were before. Wang Lin was sitting on the throne, looking down with a domineering aura. His voice slowly entered Tuo Sen's mind. Tuo Sen silently pondered as he rapidly recovered his body. After he escaped from planet Suzaku, he had taken over Tusi's body. Tusi's body was that of a royal ancient god that had survived for countless years. The 7 stars between Wang Lin's eyebrows were rotating rapidly, and there was ancient devil energy swirling in his right eye. However, because the inheritance lacked ancient demon energy, it was incomplete, so the ancient devil star couldn't fully take shape unless he had a complete ancient devil avatar. Ancient devil avatar, if it was anywhere else, it would be difficult to find one. However, he could find one in this tomb, especially in this palace. There were still some petrified corpses of the 3 ancient order clan members remaining. Among them, there was a 10,000 feet tall ancient devil that had maintained its ferocious expression from when it was alive. It was very eye-catching among the other corpses. Wang Lin raised his right hand and reached out. The ancient devil body flew toward him and landed before him. He then pressed his right hand on its body. Unfortunately, there is no royal ancient devil here. This corpse only has some aura of a royal ancient devil. Wang Lin's right hand pressed down on the corpse of the ancient devil. The devilish energy in his right eye rushed into ancient devil through his right hand. The ancient devil aura inside Wang Lin's body was extremely large. At this moment, it rushed out into the ancient devil's petrified body that was like a bottomless pit. As Wang Lin sat there, his devilish energy rushed into the ancient devil body before him. His eyes were still locked onto Tuo Sen, who was rapidly healing outside the illusory net. Aside from his own pride, the other reason Wang Lin had given Tuo Sen time was because he needed time as well. He couldn't leave the throne to fight. Although there was no rejection force on this throne, because the rejection force was gone, the aura of inheritance that made Wang Lin's eyes red had also disappeared. Wang Lin had somehow learned that if he got up then, even if he sat down again, there would be no more inheritance. This was an inexplicable enlightenment he had gained when his divine sense fused with the will of the tomb. That's why he couldn't get up. The inheritance for him to become a 7-star ancient god didn't satisfy Wang Lin. He wanted more inheritance. He wanted that rejection force to appear once more. Only then would the inheritance aura be increased by several fold and be forced out from the beating heart in the 3rd layer. There was only one way for the rejection force to appear again. Wang Lin revealed a decisive gaze. Although Tuo Sen was outside and the rejection force was dangerous, He wasn't willing to give up. When he revealed that decisive gaze, he cut off the fusion of his divine sense with the tomb. When his divine sense was cut off from the tomb, the heaven-shaking rejection force appeared from the throne once more. At the same time, the heart in the third layer started beating rapidly, and the aura of inheritance rushed into the throne. A star ancient god was far stronger than a star ancient god. Wang Lin sat motionlessly, resisting the rejection force. This time, he no longer sealed his body to prevent the aura from leaking out. Instead, he did the opposite and took the initiative to forcibly absorb the inheritance aura from the throne. Fans celebrating the new year, please join the VIDEEO fan battle team. If you need to complete a mission, Leo can praise everyone in the chapter narration. Chapter 147, Core Formation. 4. Another person covered in black fog said, "You, damn it!" A hand reached out to slap Wei San. Wei San's face immediately became pale and he knelt onto the ground. He chattered, "Disciple, everything Disciple said is true. Aside from me guessing his cultivation level wrongly, Disciple, the fear caused his words to become incoherent. None of the other fighting evil sect disciples revealed any expressions. Some even felt happy watching his misery. Seeing this made Wei San's heart become even colder. He saw the hand come closer, then suddenly had an idea and shouted, I remember now." He asked the worker at the treasure refining pavilion if there was any rank 5 or higher pill furnace. In truth, Wei San didn't clearly hear those words, but in this stressful situation, he began to make stuff up. As he spoke, even he himself began to believe that maybe that person really was there to buy a pill furnace. The hand suddenly stopped. A husky voice said, "Pill furnace? Wei San, do you know the consequences of lying to me?" Wei San clenched his teeth and said, "Disciple is willing to bet his life on it." He couldn't help but bitterly smile in his heart. If he didn't promise now, then he would die instantly, so he might as well risk it. He was going to die anyway, but if he was right, then he would get to keep his life. The third elder that still hadn't said a word finally said, "It doesn't matter if he is telling the truth or not. Let us just go and see for ourselves." The moment those words came out, the three of them no longer hesitated and followed after Wang Lin. The other disciples quickly followed them. Wei San wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and secretly cursed, but still followed them. The three elders of the fighting evil sect came to Nandu City to have a very important meeting with the elders of the three other sects, so orders were given to not obstruct them. Now that the meeting was over, no one stopped them, even though there was a large group of fighting evil sect members together. As for Wang Lin, someone would stop him to check his token every once in a while. This made him move very slowly, and adding on the fact that he noticed people following him, he decided to just charge through everything. Soon, he arrived at the gate and charged out of the city. Shortly after, the fighting evil sect members flew by the gate as well. After they left, disciples of the three major sects of Nandu City appeared at the gate. They were being led by a few core formation cultivators. They had received orders to kick out the members of the fighting evil sect if they started fighting inside the city. But if they leave the city, don't stop them or help them. After Wang Lin left Nandu City, he quickly went underground using the earth escape technique and quickly escaped. One of the three core formation cultivators was surprised. He waved his hand and an ancient mirror appeared in his grasp. He spat out a mouthful of spiritual energy and guided it into the ancient mirror. The ancient mirror shined and a rainbow-colored light shot out from it. The light pointed at the ground toward where Wang Lin went and quickly went forward. The three of them sneered and followed the light. The disciples of the fighting evil sect were all excited. Hunting prey with the elders of the sect made them very excited. Wang Lin slightly frowned and let out a snort as the divine sense left in Wei San detonated. Wei San, who was with the group of fighting evil sect members, suddenly let out a miserable scream, coughed out blood, and fell off his sword. His fellow disciples' expressions immediately changed. Wang Lin's speed didn't slow down. He spread out his divine sense and focused on one person. Once again, another disciple of the fighting evil sect let out a miserable scream and fell down. As a result, the disciples of the fighting evil sect all stopped, not daring to continue chasing. Only the three core formation cultivators didn't care. They continued to chase after Wang Lin. One of the cultivators waved his hand, and a giant black stamp appeared. It circled him once, then he let out a cold smile and waved his hand. The black stamp smashed down. The moment the stamp smashed into the ground, Wang Lin quickly turned and dodged it. The cultivator's smile became even colder. He controlled the stamp to continue smashing into the ground. A figure then came out from under the ground. After coldly looking at the three of them, Wang Lin quickly flew away. The cultivator with the ancient mirror shouted, "Hand over the treasure you got at the treasure refining pavilion, or die!" Just as he said those words, a bright light appeared before his eyes as a flying sword stabbed toward him. He felt terrified as he forced his body to move left a bit. He felt pain as the flying sword went through his chest and came out the other side. He couldn't help but cough out a mouthful of blood. What kind of flying sword is this? His face was pale and filled with lingering fear. If he hadn't reacted fast enough there, he would have died. Wang Lin secretly sighed and waved his hand. The crystal sword reappeared in his hand. The other core formation cultivators were shocked. They quickly took out a few defensive formations before finally staring at Wang Lin. Scram! Wang Lin's eyes were cold. After saying that one word, he continued to fly forward. The three core formation cultivators looked at each other, then at the flying sword around Wang Lin. This powerful of a flying sword was very rare. Greed appeared in the three eyes, and they continued to chase Wang Lin. The wounded cultivator took out several defensive treasures before finally relaxing a bit. Then he took out pills to help himself heal. Finally, he crushed some of the pills and smeared them on the wound. Then he hesitated a bit and took out a jade. He placed it on his forehead and threw it out. In a few breaths of time, the jade disappeared. Wang Lin spread out his divine sense and found that the three were still chasing him. He couldn't help but sneer. The three of them must be wanting to kill him to steal his treasure. For Wang Lin, being chased by three core formation cultivators wasn't much. If it was only one, he could fight. However, there were three of them. Even though they were all at the early stage of core formation, he couldn't underestimate them when they were together. However, once he succeeds in forming his core, killing the three of them would be as easy as crushing ants. Under the pursuit of the three core formation cultivators, Wang Lin ran for a whole day. During this time, the three used various treasures, causing Wang Lin to slow down. After the first sneak attack with the crystal sword, the three of them started to be on guard, so future attacks weren't as effective. Wang Lin's gaze became colder and colder. His divine sense locked onto the three of them, and the G-realm red lightning shot out. The three core formation cultivators saw a flash of red light before feeling like hammers had hit their heads. Blood came out of their mouths and noses, and after stumbling a bit, the three of them revealed terror they had never shown before. The already wounded cultivator coughed out another mouthful of blood. His eyes were red and filled with pain. If it wasn't for someone next to him grabbing him, he would have fallen off his flying sword. He took a deep breath, calmed down his divine sense, then said to the other two, "He is no ordinary foundation establishment cultivator. He must be someone who is only an inch away from the core formation stage. We must kill him. If we let him succeed in forming his core, then with his technique, the three of us will surely die. I have already informed the sect head. I believe he will send backup soon." Wang Lin's brow furrowed. Normally, the Jai realm would have no effect on core formation cultivators, but it was affected by his current cultivation level. With the completion of the underworld ascension cultivation method and the formation of the prototype core, he was able to wound core formation cultivators, but not kill them. Although the injuries seemed really heavy, the core formation cultivators would only need to rest for a bit to recover. If there was only one person, then using all his power, along with help from the devil, he would win, but there were three people, so he could only run right now. Wang Lin secretly sighed as he quickly flew forward. 8 hours later, when the day had darkened, he had used his G-realm several times, but it could only slow them down. He spread out his divine sense, then suddenly stopped. He turned to look at the enemies that had chased him for 2 days and 1 night. The three of them were also very tired, but they couldn't stop chasing. If they were to let Wang Lin get away and reach the core formation stage, the three of them would die for sure. Suddenly seeing Wang Lin stop, the three of them were very confused. Just at this moment, Wang Lin raised his hand into the air as if he was going to fight the heavens. His gaze became even colder, and his hair flowed in the wind. The crystal flying sword released a cold aura below his feet. Soon, a mass of blue flames appeared in his right hand. The moment the fire appeared, the air surrounding the area immediately became colder. This blue flame was Wang Lin's other ace besides his G realm. Since he had already used G-Realm, he didn't want to use this blue flame. In the 14th Valley, he found out that this blue flame was not reusable. Every time he uses it, there would be less left. However, since the 3 wooden T stopped chasing him, he had no choice but to use it. The moment the blue flame appeared, the 3 core formation cultivators' faces greatly changed. Before they could do anything, Wang Lin waved his hand, and the blue flame slowly flew toward them. Although it looked very slow, it was very fast. The harsh wind froze and smashed toward the 3 of them. The 3 of them didn't hesitate to split up. However, the blue flame's speed quickly increased several fold and landed on the core formation cultivator that had been injured multiple times. In the blink of an eye, his body released a blue light and disappeared. He didn't even have time to scream. The blue flame weakened a bit and quickly went after the next target. However, just at this moment, a thunderous roar came from the distance. Wang Lin spotted 7 or 8 rays of light quickly flew toward this direction. Wang Lin's expression changed. He reached out with his right hand and recovered the blue flame before escaping. This time, he used 120% of his spiritual energy and ran for his life. It's time to double the likes for the video, wishing for more likes for the video. Chapter 1475. The Second Destined Battle. 1. Passive and proactive are similar, but they are worlds apart. Not only is it a difference in behavior, but also a difference in mentality. After more than 2,000 years of cultivation, Wang Lin had finally allowed his ancient god body to reach 7 stars. A 7-star ancient god's body was not something a second-step cultivator could easily damage, unless the ancient god was going through a trial. Otherwise, it would require a large amount of celestials to besiege an ancient god for several days before they could kill him. It could even be said that a complete 7-star ancient god's body had the strength to battle early-stage Nirvana Void cultivators. More importantly, 7 stars meant that the ancient god had entered the stage of rapid maturity to adulthood. As time passes, the body of a 7-star ancient god would continue to grow more powerful. Of the ancient god's 9 stars, every star after 5 stars was extremely difficult to obtain. However, once each star was formed, the ancient god's power would increase several fold. At this moment, with his spells, fire and thunder essences, Tao spells and other things, he could face a 3rd-step early-stage Nirvana Void cultivator and not be at a disadvantage. And if no accident happened, he was strong enough to win. The 7-star ancient god Wang Lin was no weaker than Tu Si when he was at 7 stars. Although Tu Si had the complete inheritance, Wang Lin was the first existence that was a fusion of a cultivator and an ancient god. Wang Lin would even dare to fight mid-stage Nirvana Void cultivators. Although he would likely lose, they would find it extremely difficult to kill him. In the 3rd step, the Nirvana Void, Spirit Void, Arcane Void, and Void Turbulent stages all had early, mid, and late stage just like the 2nd step. The difference between each level was enormous, like the difference between Nirvana Cleanser and Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. Wang Lin's eyes were bright like fire as he sat on the throne and allowed the rejection force to shake his body. However, the power that was once enough to break down his body couldn't affect him too much anymore. Continuing from before, it was now the 20th breath and 21st breath. These 2 breaths passed in an instant, and the rejection force increased greatly. As the rejection force slammed into Wang Lin, the aura of the inheritance also surged out. This aura of inheritance was devoured by Wang Lin like crazy. His body and the ancient devil were like 2 terrifying black holes. The aura of inheritance was being split into 2 and being absorbed by the 2. Absorbing the inheritance was extremely difficult with the rejection force constantly colliding with him, but Wang Lin didn't give up. Wang Lin knew that if he missed this chance now, it would be extremely difficult to get another opportunity. 22nd breath, 23rd breath, 24th breath. The rejection force from the throne had reached a terrifying degree, and thunderous rumbles were echoing. Even with Wang Lin's 7-star ancient god body, it was starting to be a bit unbearable. His body trembled and showed signs of collapse. However, the recovery of a star ancient god was far stronger than that of a star ancient god. Just as the collapse happened, his body rapidly recovered. As Wang Lin continued to absorb the aura of inheritance, a weak cyclone appeared next to the 7 stars. This cyclone was the sign of the 8th star. Once it appeared completely, Wang Lin would become an 8-star ancient god. An 8-star ancient god was an extremely powerful existence in this world. However, becoming an 8-star ancient god was too difficult. It required far more energy than the amount of reached 7 stars. Although the cyclone had formed, it was so faint that no one would notice it without looking at it carefully. Once Wang Lin relaxed for a moment, this weak cyclone would dissipate, leaving no trace behind. At the same time, the ancient devil S-body was being filled with ancient devil energy that Wang Lin was pouring in like crazy. Wang Lin had even sent the ancient devil star that hadn't fully taken shape in his right eye into the ancient devil. The petrified body began to show signs of recovery. Some parts were not as hard as stone, and instead became soft. Its originally bleak right eye shined brightly, and an ancient devil star was about to form. It was slowly condensing, becoming more and more clear. At this moment, Tuo Sen, who was healing outside the net, suddenly moved. His flesh was moving, and he had recovered 80%. Tuo Sen's body was 2C's body. Back then, 2C was infinitely close to becoming a 9-star royal ancient god. He had even stagnated at 8 stars for far too long, and his body had reached the limit of an 8-star ancient god. In order to break through to 9 stars, 2C had used the ancient god's forbidden spell. However, it failed, and that's how the inner demon Tuo Sen had appeared. Tuo Sen's recovery ability was far stronger than Wang Lin's. If not for the fact that his injuries from the roar were very serious, he wouldn't have delayed it until now to recover. Recovering to 80% was already his limit. The last 20% of damage was not on his physical body, it was the damage to his soul caused by the roar. He would need to enter closed-door cultivation to recover fully. Tuo Sen suddenly raised his head as his 8 stars rotated rapidly. He stared at Wang Lin, who was sitting on the throne, and revealed a complicated expression. It could be said that he was the person who understood Wang Lin the most in the world. From a tiny core formation cultivator to the master of a generation that dared to give him the time to recover. Although this sounds easy, how many people in the world could do it? If you want a battle with me, I'll fulfill your requests. The battle outside the realm ceiling formation was not enjoyable. Today we will fight again in this ancient land. As Tuo Sen spoke, he walked forward and went through the gap in the ancient leaves. He stepped out and entered the palace. This was the first time Tuo Sen hadn't called himself this god. A simply change in speech, but it revealed that he recognized Wang Lin as an ancient god. Tuo Sen had never believed that Wang Lin was an ancient god. Even after escaped, he still believed that Wang Lin was just someone who had stolen the memory inheritance. Even after Wang Lin reached 6 stars and battled him, Tuo Sen still didn't see Wang Lin as an ancient god. In his heart, he always felt that Wang Lin wasn't qualified to become an ancient god. However, now that he had seen Wang Lin becoming a 7-star ancient god, felt the powerful ancient god power from Wang Lin's body, witnessed Wang Lin face the dangerous inheritance head-on. And Wang Lin had still himself time to recover. In his head, he had to accept Wang Lin as an ancient god. An ancient god like himself. There is no vendetta between us. This is our destined battle. The battle for the inheritance. Tuo Sen's voice was like a wave. The moment he stepped forward, the palace shook. In a flash, his body grew to 10,000 feet tall. His right hand formed a fist and he threw a punch. An ancient god's body could change at will. So Tuo Sen could do this. Before, Wang Lin didn't realize it, but after reaching 7 stars, he had a vague feeling. Like how the 10,000-foot body wasn't the limit of a 7-star ancient god. Wang Lin's eyes were like lightning. The moment Tuo Sen entered the palace, his eyes shined brightly. His eyes were filled with battle intent, and his ancient god stars were rotating rapidly. As Tuo Sen threw a punch, Wang Lin's left hand threw a punch without hesitation. The two ancient gods who both had 2CS inheritances, began their second destined battle. When Tuo Sen threw his punch, a storm swept across the palace. This caused esteemed Ling Dong and Zhou Jin to get knocked back. Both were seriously injured and could no longer fight. They could only sit in the distance and rapidly recover. Esteemed Ling Dong was calm and didn't care about the result of this battle. He was focused on recovering. Zhou Jin's eyes were filled with a complicated gaze. He had clearly witnessed Wang Lin's strength before and after entering the tomb. The last shred of hope he had disappeared, and he silently closed his eyes to heal. As Tuo Sen punched the air, a giant shadow appeared behind him. This shadow was as tall as the world and had a tyrannical expression. It released a sense of arrogance and disdain. The moment it appeared, the palace trembled violently as if it was going to collapse. This illusory shadow was Tu-Si, a peak 8-star ancient god, a shadow of Tu-Si. Tuo Sen was the inner demon of Tu-Si, and although he had attacked his own master, his soul and will were still Tu-Si. At this moment, with a full power punch, Tu-Si's shadow appeared. The shadow also threw a punch toward Wang Lin. At this instant, a giant shadow appeared behind Wang Lin as well. This shadow was Tu-Si as well. However, compared to Tuo Sen's shadow, this shadow is not tyrannical but filled with wisdom. As Wang Lin punched the air, the Tu-Si shadow behind him also raised its left hand and threw a punch. If there was a sky here, it would be change colors. If there were clouds here, the clouds would be scattered. This was destiny. Two giant ancient god shadows that looked exactly the same, to the point that even the lines on their skin were all the same, punched at each other. The only difference was that one was as tyrannical as a devil and the other was wise and calm. Under each of the two giant ancient gods were Wang Lin and Tuo Sen. The two of them came closer and closer. In a flash, Tuo Sen closed in on the platform. His right fist descended and collided with Wang Lin's left fist. At the same time, just as the two began their destined battle, a charming figure appeared outside the illusory net. This charming woman was one of the 8 celestial imperial concubines. As usual, 2 chapters at noon, about 10 minutes apart, and 2 more at 8 in the evening, 10 minutes apart. If anything comes up, the other will be informed. Longing for the like button for the video. Chapter 1476. The Second Destined Battle, 2. Thunderous rumbles echoed when Wang Lin and Tuo Sen's fist collided. At the same time, the two shadows of Tu-Si also collided. It was as if the void of the palace was torn apart. Thunderous rumbles echoed as Tuo Sen's Tu-Si shadow trembled. The right arm collapsed, and he was knocked back 4 steps. Then the ferocious-looking Tu-Si shattered. The Tu-Si filled with wisdom also trembled, and his left arm shattered. He was knocked back 3 steps, and countless fine cracks filled his body before it shattered. The collision of the 2 ancient god shadows created a heaven-shattering force. A huge crack appeared in the palace and formed a huge rift between the 2 ancient gods. As the thunderous rumbles echoed in this battle of destiny, Tuo Sen's punch collided with Wang Lin. When their fists collided, his eyes shined. Countless ripples appeared between their fists. There was a terrifying force inside each ripple. Their punches were made with different methods, but both used strength. The moment Tuo Sen's punch fell, he threw 99 punches in a row. Although it looked like one punch, it was simply that his 99 punches were so fast that they had fused into one. This was Tuo Sen's style of strength, to break the heavens with strength. If I can destroy you with one punch, then I'll punch you 99 punches one after another. There is no skill, and no matter how much you resist, you will be shattered by these 99 punches. Wang Lin's punch used the black tortoise spell he had learned from the 2nd-generation vermilion bird. He fused the rebound force into his fist so that the rebound power could erupt in one go. To put it simply, Wang Lin's punch treated Tuo Sen as the surface of the water. His punch created a powerful rebound force from Tuo Sen. Wang Lin then cleverly borrowed this rebound force and used it as his own attack. His blow not only contained his own power, but also the power he had borrowed from Tuo Sen. Wang Lin was competing in strength against Tuo Sen's 99 punches. Wang Lin's punch not only contained his own power and the power he had borrowed from Tuo Sen, there was also another important force. It was due to the existence of this power that Wang Lin would dare to face the 8-star Tuo Sen. This power was the rejection force coming from the throne beneath him. This power rushed into his body and exited through his punch as a powerful force that collided with Tuo Sen's fist. The thunderous rumbles echoed and blood came out from the corner of Wang Lin's mouth. Cracking sounds echoed. 3 cracks had appeared on the throne. The huge platform under the throne began to collapse. In a flash, half of the platform collapsed. Blood also flew out from the corner of Tuo Sen's mouth. He was in the air and couldn't borrow the chair to release the force. He retreated back thousands of feet and came close to the illusory net. Refreshing. With just a competition of power, you, Wang Lin, are indeed qualified to call yourself an ancient god. The charming woman had used some unknown method to reform her body and then used her connection with Tuo Sen to find him. She had personally witnessed their battle. Her expression changed and killing intent appeared in her eyes. She then charged at the illusory net. She was going to help Tuo Sen kill Wang Lin. However, just as she was about to enter the illusory net, Tuo Sen arrived close to the net. He turned around and threw a punch at the charming woman that was going to enter the net. Scram! Outsiders aren't qualified to enter a battle between this god-s clan members. The charming woman didn't expect Tuo Sen to attack her. When that punch arrived, her hands quickly formed a seal. A ribbon appeared around her and she withstood this punch by force. A thunderous rumble echoed. She was already seriously injured, and she coughed out blood as she was forced back a few steps. The charming appearance she had was gone, and was replaced with a hideous expression. Tuo Sen, you dared to rebel against my will. Tuo Sen's eyes became cold as he sneered and he threw a punch at the imperial concubine. Tuo Sen said, do you really think this god is a reckless person? If I didn't need to borrow you to recover, did you really think you could control this god? Who in this world is qualified to control this god? You are just a plaything of the celestial sovereign, yet you dare to scheme against me. Scram! The storm created by Tuo Sen's punch rushed at the illusory net. It forced the already seriously injured concubine to retreat even more. Tuo Sen grabbed the illusory net and pulled it. His ancient god power poured into the net and sealed the net once more so that charming woman could not enter. All of this happened in a flash. Then Tuo Sen turned around and looked at Wang Lin. Now no one can disturb our battle. Although a majority of the stone platform had collapsed, time was slowly passing. It was now the 39th breath, and the rejection force had reached Wang Lin's limit. Even with his 7-star ancient god body-s recovery power, and his 2 essences offsetting the force, he found it difficult to hold on. If he continued this, his body would collapse once more, and he would die. As the rejection force became even more fierce, the inheritance aura surged as well. Wang Lin absorbed it like crazy, and the cyclone that represented the 8th star became even more clear. The ancient devil body that wasn't destroyed laid beside him. As the devilish energy flowed into it, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th ancient devil stars appeared in its right eye. As Wang Lin continued to absorb the inheritance aura by force, blood flew out from his left eye, causing him to feel intense pain. Because Li Guang had shot out Yi Mi's left eye, the ancient order inheritance was incomplete. The more inheritance aura Wang Lin absorbed, the more pain Wang Lin felt in his left eye. It was as if he had become Yi Mo and his own left eye had collapsed. Even the vision in his left eye rapidly blurred as if Wang Lin was losing his left eye. Wang Lin could give up a mere left eye. However, the left eye Li Guang had shot out contained half of Ye Mo's memory and his yearning for his hometown. As the pain in Wang Lin's left eye intensified, his memories seemed to be torn apart. 1,000 years of memories, his memories of Li Muan, his hometown, planet Suzaku, and all the people he cared about were about to be torn away from him. Give me back my left eye! As Wang Lin absorbed the aura of inheritance, this roar echoed in his mind. It was also at this moment that Tuo Sen sealed the illusory net. His eyes were filled with battle intent as he walked toward Wang Lin. His right hand reached at the sky, and the world trembled as a 1,000-foot spear appeared in his right hand. 2CS Royal Ancient God Treasure, God-Slaying Spear! As he roared, Tuo Sen tilted back, holding the God-Slaying Spear. All the force in his body gathered in the God-Slaying Spear, and he threw it at Wang Lin. The God-Slaying Spear released a glaring light and ancient God aura. It was like a bolt of lightning that split the world as it shot toward Wang Lin. Blood still was flowing down from Wang Lin's left eye, making for a shocking scene. As the God-Slaying Spear closed in, Wang Lin raised his head. The vision from his left eye was blurry, and the memories being torn in his mind made the veins on his face swell. When the God-Slaying Spear arrived and Tuo Sen rushed in, it was the 44th breath. The rejection force suddenly rushed into Wang Lin's body. He closed his eyes and recalled the punch, palm, and finger Yi Mo had used in the past. God, tremble, army formation. Wang Lin inhaled while being hit by the rejection force. Although blood was flying out from his orifices, he absorbed a large amount of inheritance aura. He gently threw a punch with his left hand. The void before him distorted and many ripples began to spread with him as the center. The 8th star around his 7 stars suddenly began to condense, and the cyclone rapidly formed. Although forming the cyclone was far from the 8th star forming, it was like setting the foundation for cultivators. Only with a foundation would he have chance of becoming an 8-star ancient god in the future. The birth of any star would require a cyclone to form. Then it would need to absorb enough ancient god power for the star to form. The god-slaying spear was extremely fast and quickly arrived. It was less than 100 feet away. Wang Lin's hair was pushed back by the wind, and the countless fragments from the collapsed platform were blown away. Devil Dao, life and death reverse. Wang Lin closed his eyes and his left hand pointed forward. What he pointed at was the god-slaying spear that was closing in. When his finger and the tip of the god-slaying spear touched, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. At the same time, his divine sense erupted and rushed into the throne. He rushed through the rejection force, and as his divine sense collapsed layer by layer, he rushed toward the heart in the 3rd layer that was connected to this throne through a mysterious method. Mid-month already, brothers. Do you have likes for the VIDE already? Don't hold back wishing for those likes. Chapter 1477. Ancient Order Inheritance. One punch and one finger erupted when Wang Lin opened his eyes. The God Tremble punch created countless ripples with Wang Lin as the center. The earth around him trembled and shattered. Countless fragments were scattered in all directions. Each ripple contained vibrations that erupted with this punch. The earth of the palace collapsed and the sky was torn apart. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and the remaining corpses were all destroyed. A large storm formed with Wang Lin as the center. This storm rumbled and shot at Tuo Sen. Tuo Sen let out a roar and popping sounds echoed. He struggled to move forward inside this storm. Wang Lin withdrew his finger and the Devil Dao finger collided with the god-slaying spear. A powerful roar that overpowered the sound of the storm echoed. The god-slaying spear trembled when the power of Wang Lin's God Tremble and Devil Dao collided with it, forcing it to stop. It was as if Wang Lin's finger had become the hardest object in the world, hard enough to stop the god-slaying spear. The god-slaying spear was trembling violently. Aside from fighting the Devil Dao, the trembling was mostly caused by the ripples. The ripples spread in all directions and charged at the god-slaying spear. Layers of runes appeared on the god-slaying spear. The runes flashed violently. It seemed like they were going to separate from the god-slaying spear due to this vibration. The god-slaying spear was the strongest royal ancient god treasure Tu-Si had. Tuo Sen was closest to matching Tu-Si, so the power he could display with it was only weaker than Tu-Si. When Wang Lin's finger touched the god-slaying spear, he felt an indescribable force rush into his finger. His finger felt like it was going to break, and the powerful force raged inside his body. Blood flowed out from Wang Lin's mouth, but his eyes were filled with determination. He remained calm as if everything was part of his plan. This included the powerful force from the god-slaying spear. At this moment, his divine sense desperately rushed into the throne and closed in on the mysterious connection to the heart in the 3rd layer. However, the closer he got, the more powerful the rejection force became. Wang Lin couldn't reach the heart in the 3rd layer with his own power. It was also at this moment that the powerful force from the god-slaying spear erupted from Wang Lin's body. Several more cracks appeared on the throne, and the stone platform collapsed a bit more. At the same time, the powerful force that had entered his body was forced by Wang Lin to rush into the throne. His divine sense was about to dissipate as he slowly moved through the rejection force. However, the force from the spear pushed it like an arrow through all the rejection force. Wang Lin's divine sense entered that mysterious connection and connected with the heart in the 3rd layer. When Wang Lin's divine sense and the heart connected, the real inheritance began. At this moment, Wang Lin heard the beating of the heart in the 3rd layer in his mind. This sound was like thunder, and it echoed inside his mind. It also affected his heart, and a moment later, his heart was beating at the same rhythm. The sound of the heart beating became louder and louder. Wang Lin immediately felt intense pain from his heart, as if he was suffering a pressure that had pushed him to his limit. As his heart maintained the same beat, a mysterious connected formed between the two hearts. Large amounts of strange memories that made Wang Lin's head ache filled his mind. These memories were a mess, and they came in like a flood. They didn't care if Wang Lin could withstand it. He felt like his soul was being torn apart. This was more painful than the first trial. Facing this pain, Wang Lin let out a mournful roar. The heart in the third layer started beating even faster until the beats connected together. Wang Lin's heart also started beating along with it. If one could see through Wang Lin's ancient god body, they would see his heart beating so fast, it seemed like it was going to explode. Large amounts of blood came out of his blood vessels and dyed the surroundings red. All of this happened in a flash. As the heart in the third layer beat violently, a sigh seemed to echo in Wang Lin's mind. The last burst of force from the heart charged at Wang Lin's mind. Wang Lin coughed out blood and countless cracks appeared on his heart. Wang Lin had a ferocious expression, and as he roared, ancient god Tusi's figure appeared behind him. This figure was also filled with pain, as if he was struggling. However, under the force from the heart in the third layer, Tusi's shadow collapsed. It was erased from Wang Lin's inheritance. The moment Tusi's shadow disappeared, a giant head replaced Tusi behind Wang Lin. Just this head was as large as Tusi's whole body. The head was blurry, making it impossible to see what it looked like. However, its left eye was empty, and black blood was flowing out of the socket. The head looked extremely ferocious. The moment the head appeared, the last force from the heart rushed into Wang Lin, and the stone platform below him collapsed completely. The mountain-like stone platform disintegrated. Countless stone fragments scattered in all directions. The stone platform completely collapsed as if it couldn't withstand this force. Even most of the throne had collapsed. The armrests had shattered, and half of the backrest was broken. Wang Lin's body seemed like it was about to shatter under this force. Wang Lin withdrew his finger from the god-slaying spear and waved it. A monstrous bloodlight flashed, and the blood sword appeared. At this moment, without Wang Lin's finger stopping it, the god-slaying spear charged forward, as if it wanted to pierce through Wang Lin. Bloodlight flashed and the blood sword appeared. He infused the force of the collapsed platform, collapsed throne, and the extremely domineering aura from the beating heart in the third layer into the blood sword. It flew at the god-slaying spear. A thunderous rumble echoed across the heavens and earth. The blood sword and the god-slaying spear collided. The blood sword hit the tip of the spear and sliced through as if it was cutting bamboo. The shocking impact and sharpness of the blood sword sliced the god-slaying spear in half. The bloodlight flashed as it penetrated the god-slaying spear and drilled into Tuosin's body like an arrow. It entered Tuo's chest as if nothing could stop it and drilled out from his back. Tuosin let out a miserable scream. Tuosin coughed out blood, and his body was pushed back several thousand feet. He half knelt on the ground and raised his head. At this moment, the god-slaying spear split in half before Wang Lin and stabbed into the ground on his side. All the runes on the ground collapsed. The cyclone that would be the 8th star went from a blur to a solid cyclone as he absorbed the aura of inheritance. He had completed the most difficult process of forming the cyclone for the 8th star. This gave Wang Lin a solid foundation to become an 8th-star ancient god. Without this cyclone, it would be extremely difficult for Wang Lin to reach 8 stars. He would need tens of thousands of years of gathering power, or he couldn't succeed. 8th-star ancient god, the strongest body below 9 stars among the ancient gods. How could it be so easy to reach? As the power that erupted from the third layer rushed into Wang Lin, his right hand pressed down on the ancient devil, causing it to shake. All the stones collapsed and its body was no longer hard like stone. At the same time, ancient devil stars appeared in its right eye. The 5th and 6th ancient devil stars suddenly appeared. All of this happened in a flash. Wang Lin's left eye was mostly blurry. Intense pain not only came from his eye, but also from his heart. Fresh blood was flowing down from his left eye. If he continued, his left eye would be completely blind, and he would lose half of his memories. Forget his parents, forget his loved ones, forget his hometown, forget everything. This was not something Wang Lin could do. He let out a mournful roar, and for the first time, he stood up. He left the seat. The moment he stood up, the connection between his heart and the heart in the third layer stopped. The throne collapsed into a pile of rubble. The entire palace became very quiet. Only 2 rough breathing patterns continued to echo inside the palace. Wang Lin closed his eyes and the giant head that replaced Tusi's slowly disappeared. After a long time, Wang Lin gradually calmed down and opened his eyes. From now on, I'm no longer an ancient god from Tusi's inheritance. I am an ancient order. Wang Lin lifted his right hand from the ancient devil and pointed to between his eyebrows. He slowly extracted the memory inheritance he had obtained from the land of the ancient god. Mid-month and it's been forgotten. Hoping for the like button for the video, tears start to flow. Is there still time? You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter 1478, Returning Home. Tusius' memory inheritance had accompanied him for more than 1,000 years, but now it was useless. Tusi was merely a peak 8-star ancient god. The light formed by the memory inheritance appeared in his hand. He looked at the light for a moment before he threw it at Tuo Sen. I give to you. Tuo Sen was kneeling on the ground with a bloody chest and was rapidly healing. He caught the light that caused him to come to the outer realm, the memory inheritance that could make him go crazy. His body visibly trembled. He had waited for this day for a very long time, from a sliver of an inner demon that had been sealed for countless years to watching Wang Lin steal the memory inheritance away. The hatred and anger he felt was monstrous. In order to obtain this memory inheritance, he was willed to do anything. After breaking the seal, he had taken over Tusi's body and began his long search. It was a period filled with bitterness. He fantasized countless times of the day that he would extract the memory inheritance from Wang Lin so that his inheritance could be perfect. However, he never expected that the memory inheritance he always dreamed of would be returned to him by Wang Lin willingly. Holding the memory inheritance, Tuo Sen became silent. After a long time, he raised his head and looked at Wang Lin with a complicated gaze. Thank you. Tuo Sen had never said thank you before in his life. These words never existed in his mind. No one was qualified enough for him to thank, and in his mind he didn't need to thank anyone. His pride and arrogance came from his bones. Tusi's memory inheritance. Once it is complete, will he wake up? Will you dissipate? I dawned to know Wang Lin had only taken a part of the ancient order inheritance, but there was only one. No one else beside him could obtain it anymore. If one day Wang Lin's cultivation could reach a point here he could withstand more, he would come back and continue after leaving his parting words. Wang Lin waved his hand. Ling Dong and Zhou Jin, who were shocked by what they had witnessed, were put away into the Emperor Furnace by Wang Lin. He also put the ancient devil body into his storage space. He put away the ancient leaves, the blood sword, and other things. Wang Lin had obtained part of the inheritance and now knew the first layer of the tomb better than anyone. Ripples appeared under his feet, and he was about to disappear from the palace. However, just at this moment, Wang Lin's body trembled and he stopped. He looked into the void in the distance. In the northern part of the palace, he saw a ripple in the void. The ripple became larger and larger and continued to spread. A pressure came from the illusory net, and then huge shadow appeared. The thing outside the net couldn't see inside the palace, but Wang Lin clearly saw a giant black shadow behind the illusory net. This black shadow was oval-shaped and was extremely large. Countless tentacles swayed and large amounts of ancient god aura came out from its mouth as it attacked this illusory net. It was the Moongazer serpent. There were two cultivators sitting at the head of the Moongazer serpent, Xianxia and Wudong Chan. They were extremely cautious, as if they on guard against any surprise. The two of them didn't need platforms because the Moongazer serpent allowed them move through the tomb like Tuo Sen. They were about to use the Moongazer serpent to force their way inside the palace. However, the restriction around the palace was too strong. According to their analysis, even the Moongazer serpent would require a long time to melt the restriction. Although the two of them were anxious, they could only nervously wait. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he revealed a sneer. He stepped forward and arrived next to the illusory net that had appeared in the northern part of the palace. Then his right hand reached out and he tore the net. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and a large crack was ripped open in the net. Xianxia and Wudong Chang were both startled. They couldn't get a clear look before a powerful gust of wind came from the crack. The power inside the gust was not something they could resist. They let out miserable screams and coughed out blood. They didn't even get to see Wang Lin, or where the wind came from. As they coughed out blood, they were pulled into Wang Lin's storage space. Even the moongazer serpent's giant body was pushed back by the gust of wind. Its dim eyes became clear, and the obvious seal on the moongazer serpent flashed violently. Wang Lin walked out from the crack, and didn't he hesitate to wave his arms. The moongazer serpent trembled and a giant spatial rift appeared behind it. It was sucked into Wang Lin's storage space. Luo Chen should still be inside this moongazer serpent. Luo Chen had helped Wang Lin before. Wang Lin thought about it before putting the moongazer serpent away and then disappeared. The entire palace was broken and incomplete. At this moment, only Tuo Sen, who was stunned, remained in the palace. He felt no joy from obtaining the memory inheritance, only hesitation and confusion. The inheritance he had dreamt of his entire life was before him, but he didn't know if it was the right thing for him to see. Since I was born, I knew I was a sliver of your inner demon. However, is this memory real or fake? Did you really fail the flowing ink technique and died? Or am I part of that technique? Am I Tuo Sen? Or to see the confusion in Tuo Sen's eyes became even stronger. He silently knelt there and seemed to have forgotten the passage of time. Inside the ancient tomb, as the spatial rift to the ancient star system had closed, the fog became even more dense and raged like the sea. At this moment, some cultivators were still alive inside the ancient tomb. Anyone who could survive the upheaval from before was an extremely cunning and powerful cultivator. Only these people were able to use various methods to avoid all the dangers from before. It could be said that these people were the essences of the various clans of the ancient star system. At this moment, inside the ninth map, within the endless fluctuations, Wang Lin walked out. He was in a different area than the palace, avoiding the charming woman. Wang Lin had no interest in any of the cultivators inside the tomb. Tao Master Miao Yin, Devil Master Nine Heavens, Great Desolation and the like were all heaven-shaking cultivators. Although they had been injured by the roar, as people who had survived for tens of thousands of years, they all had their own methods. Wang Lin didn't have the crazy idea of killing them all like when he went to battle the sovereign. This was unrealistic and not in line with Wang Lin's current plan. The ancient tomb had been sealed by Wang Lin. These people would be trapped here, unable to leave for a long time. This was enough. After appearing, Wang Lin's right hand reached out at the void. The ninth map trembled and layers of ripples echoed as if it was being torn. A giant spatial rift appeared. There was a thunderous rumble coming from the rift, and a corner of a giant golden pavilion appeared. Earth Palace. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He had inherited part of Yimo's memories, so he knew the method of obtaining the Earth Palace. This giant golden pavilion had 3 windows and the door was sealed tightly. However, Wang Lin could clearly see 3 shadows sitting inside. A powerful pressure came out from the pavilion and shrouded the area. The moment the pavilion appeared, all the cultivators inside the tomb noticed this. This was especially true for Miao Yin, Nine Heavens, and Great Desolation. Wang Lin didn't hesitate. The moment the Earth Palace was summoned, he moved it into his storage space. Then he turned around and took a step. He suddenly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was at the 5th map, where ancient leaves came from. This place still maintained the appearance Wang Lin had left it, without any signs of being broken. Wang Lin waved his right hand and an ancient leaf appeared. After using it to open the sealed land, he put the leaf away. Everything was the same as before. The vortex that floated above the ground was still there, slowly rotating. Wang Lin arrived next to the vortex and silently pondered. Due to his connection with the ancient tomb, he knew that the surviving cultivators had all rushed toward him when he took out the Earth Palace. Some of the more powerful people had locked on to him. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his right hand formed a seal. He waved it at the sky, and the seal disappeared without a trace. When the seal disappeared, the fog under the first 9 maps roared and sharp screams echoed. It was as if countless souls were hiding below. I'll give you a gift before leaving. Wang Lin's seal was used to open the 2nd layer. As Wang Lin stepped into the vortex, he sneered. The moment he disappeared, his right hand reached out and the entire sealed land disappeared without a trace along with the vortex. The moment the sealed land disappeared, Miao Yin and company arrived. However, they were too late. There was nothing before them. At the same time as Wang Lin left, Tuo Sen seemed to have made up his mind. He held the memory inheritance and pressed it between his eyebrows. In the inner realm, under the Thunder Celestial Realm, Heaven, At this moment, a spatial rift silently appeared where greed disappeared before, and a white figure walked out. The moment the figure walked out, a shocking aura rushed out from his body and turned into a pressure that swept across all heaven. This pressure was powerful enough to cause all living things to tremble. Master Lu Fu was the first to clearly feel this. He was awakened from his cultivation. It actually isn't the outer realm, but Al-Heaven in the inner realm. Time to go home. The white figure pondered for a while and then revealed a smile. Mid-month and the hope for likes on the video has slipped by 2 days already? Tears streaming. Is there any hope left? Chapter 1479. The Al-Heaven star system that is preparing for war. The atmosphere was tense in the Al-Heaven star system. In the northwest part of Al-Heaven, there was a magnificent formation made of 439 planets. There were many cultivators outside the formation, putting down seals to reinforce the formation. Even further away, rays of red light roared as countless cultivators moved under command to select large amounts of cultivation planets that were dragged here by force. In the inner part of the planet formation, there was a cloud of fog. This fog wasn't dense, and one could clearly see an old man sitting inside the fog. This old man was wearing a Taoist robe and gave off a sense of majesty without being angry. His face was slightly pale, but thunder rumbled inside the old man as if his body contained countless bolts of thunder. This old man was Al-Heaven's third step cultivator, early stage Nirvana void cultivator Master Lu Fu. As an extremely rare third step cultivator inside the inner realm, Master Lu Fu's status was extremely high. All other cultivators were like ants before him. Master Lu Fu could be said to be the guardian of the entire Al-Heaven star system, and the real person who launched the war against the Alliance star system. Only before Tuo Sen was he forced to escape in a sorry state. When Tuo Sen appeared in Al-Heaven again, Master Lu Fu was terrified and hid himself using a special spell. It wasn't until Tuo Sen left that he reappeared. He had been healing himself over the years. Although he didn't have enough Joss flames, he had his own methods to slowly recover from his battle against Tuo Sen. Everything had been peaceful, but on this day, when Wang Lin left the ancient tomb and arrived in Al-Heaven, Master Lu Fu opened his eyes and they lit up. However, before he could think, he felt Wang Lin's power pressure that spread across Al-Heaven. Master Lu Fu's expression changed greatly and he suddenly got up. His eyes were filled with shock. He looked ahead as if his gaze could penetrate everything and see Wang Lin. However, before he could see clearly, a powerful force rushed into his divine sense, messing with his mind. Everything became blurry before him. Master Lu Fu's expression changed once more, and he frowned. Who is this person? I can see his appearance, but his divine sense is a bit familiar. He shouldn't have reached the third step yet, but why do I feel such a terrifying feeling from his blurry figure? Master Lu Fu wasn't the only one inside this planet formation vortex. There were 4 elders sitting around him. When Master Lu Fu suddenly stood up, the 4 elders were shaken and they looked at Master Lu Fu. If Wang Lin were here, he would recognize all 4 of them. Thunder Celestial Temple's Master Flamespark, Li Yunzi, who was seriously injured by Wang Wei, the Yao family ancestor who hunted Wang Lin and was stopped by Qing Shuai, Blood God. Aside from those 3, the last person was Shang Yundong. Shang Yundong was the person who had taken Wang Lin to planet Donglin and allowed Wang Lin be deceived by the Shang family ancestor to have almost all his life force sucked away. Master Flamespark had followed Master Lu Fu the longest. When he saw Master Lu Fu's expression change, he was shocked. After hesitating a bit, he clasped his hands and respectfully asked, "Senior, what happened?" Li Yunzi and company's eyes were gloomy. They had a bad feeling appeared inside their hearts. Master Lu Fu was an unimaginably powerful existence at the third step. This kind of existence was a legend, and few things could make them lose control of their emotions. However, before the 4 of them got Master Lu Fu's answer, they immediately felt a pressure that made their hearts tremble sweep across the stars. This pressure was extremely powerful, and they felt like something powerful had smashed into them. Their expressions changed greatly and their minds trembled. They had the illusion that they would collapse under this pressure. Fortunately, this pressure passed by in a flash. However, just that moment had caused their faces to turn pale and they were terrified. They vaguely felt why a legendary existence like Master Lu Fu would act like this. Master Lu Fu's eyes lit up. He had always been cautious his life and was rarely adventurous. The one time he took a risk resulted in him taking a big loss from Tuo Sen. Not only was he almost killed, but he had to avoid Tuo Sen like a homeless dog. Therefore his actions became even more cautious. The pressure from before was powerful enough to shock him. At this moment, while things were unclear, he was unwilling to check it himself. After pondering a bit, he said, "The four of you, set up the Alheaven mirror. This old man wants to see who this person is and why he came to Alheaven." Master Flamespark and company respectfully nodded and calmed themselves. They quickly moved to the four corners and sat down. Their hands quickly formed seals. This spell was something Master Lu Fu had given them and made the four of them practice. They had almost completely mastered it. As their hands formed seals, a white light flashed. The white light became brighter and brighter between the four of them. A moment later, a white mirror appeared. When the white mirror appeared, it was filled with ripples and was still blurry. Master Lu Fu's eyes lit up and his right hand formed a seal. Then his index finger pointed directly at the water like mirror surface. The ripples on the mirror suddenly stopped, and the image was no longer distorted. A star system suddenly appeared in the mirror, and a person with white hair and white robe was slowly moving through the star system. Wang Lin slowly moved through the Alheaven star system. Everything made him feel familiar. Although Alheaven wasn't the Alliance, Wang Lin had left too many footprints here. "I wonder if the people I know are still there." Wang Lin let out a sigh when he suddenly frowned and he looked up at the stars. The thunder tattoo in his right eye flashed. Scram! After he spoke, the thunder tattoo flew out from his eye and the world trembled. The thunder tattoo pierced through the void and disappeared. Just as the mirror appeared and they saw the white-haired figure, Wang Lin's words echoed in their ears. Thunderous rumbles echoed as monstrous thunder erupted from the mirror. Thunder lashed out from the surface of the mirror and swept the area. There was a thunderous bang and the mirror shattered into pieces. Master Lu Fu's expression changed and he waved his sleeves to push this collapse away. However, the endless thunder rose into the air and created endless rumbles that shook the surrounding cultivators. To them, they saw the thunder cover the stars as if divine retribution was descending. Master Flamespark coughed out blood and quickly retreated. His eyes were filled with disbelief. At this moment, a voice was frantically roaring in his heart. "Wang! He is Wang Lin!" He had clearly seen Wang Lin's white hair and white robe. He could never forget Wang Lin's figure. Li Yunzi also coughed out blood as he retreated in horror. He had interacted with Wang Lin the most, especially the last time, where he was forced into a corner by Wang Lin. That memory was engraved in his mind. He immediately realized that the person in white was Wang Lin. He was dumbfounded and was unable to say a word. "Wang Lin! It's him!" Blood God's face turned deathly pale, his heart pounded, and he retreated. He couldn't believe what he had seen. He could never have imagined that the little ant that was hunted by him and would have died had Qing Shui not interfered could give off a pressure that would make him tremble. There was also the Xiang family as Xiang Yundong. His face was pale. He had the weakest cultivation here. At this moment, the thunder from Wang Lin's origin soul had expectedly left a deep crack in his Dao heart. Wang Lin! Xiang Yundong's eyes were filled with panic. He first thought about how his ancestor had drained most of Wang Lin's life force using the excuse of treating his wife. As a result, there was a grudge between them. Originally, the Xiang family didn't care at all. No matter how powerful Wang Lin was compared to the Xiang family, it was like hitting a rock with an egg. There was also the Xiang family ancestor that had been in closed-door cultivation for tens of thousands of years. With him there...